present and at home watching. We would like to call our Board of Commissioner regular meeting to order October 2nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. Ms. Jones, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Hall,
Present.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Present.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Present. Item number 3 is prayer and pledge. I want to thank you, Lord, for our community. I want to thank you for this board, everyone here and in our community tonight watching. May we listen and vote according to your will and listen to our citizens and take what they have in their hearts to our hearts and minds. Thank you for our citizens and be with those who are sick and traveling. We just ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 is mayor's comments. Again, welcome everyone. We have a full house tonight. We appreciate you being here. And we just ask that everybody be courteous and polite when speaking. And welcome those who are watching at home. If everyone would please speak directly into their mics and have their mics on so everyone can hear. And with that, we'll get started with our meeting. Item number 5 is citizens' comments.
There's one tonight, Mayor. James Sullivan.
Yeah, I'm out here to address the committee on, the Walker property.
Sir, could you please state your name and address? Thank you for the record.
James Sullivan,
Thank you.
7921 Pinewood Road, Fairview. I'm just out here to address my concerns of the water problem it's going to create on me, because all this water comes off of this place, and if it's developed, it's going to be, I got maps from the county showing me just, how the water comes. It focuses over close to half of this property. It's like a bowl coming straight down on me, and it's got 3 hollers that it develops in, and I see that it's going to probably cause a problem in the future. That's the reason I've been going to the county. I got to go to the state sometime this next week and talk to them and try to get them to come out and do some looking at it and take some pictures of it. They said that they would take pictures of what it is now. But my main concern is the development of the mass development is going to create a big problem right there. And that's my biggest concern, of that. I just, the Fairview is growing so quick that it's getting ahead of our utilities too. And that's a main concern of mine too. I mean, I know development is coming and it's here, but Fairview's growing so fast that the utilities are not adequate to what we got right now. And the roads is a big problem. I heard y'all discuss a while ago about the roads. The roads are so busy right now, you can't hardly get in and out. And, the sewer and the, utilities is, kind of almost overrun. But my concern is my place out there. I own a farm right there adjacent to this. And it could be devastating coming down on me, the problem it's potentially could cause. And that's just, they told me I needed to come voice my opinion so it would be on record. And that's what I'm wanting to do. So if there's anything I can do later on, that it'll be on record. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 6 passes 5-0. Item number 7, public announcements, awards, and recognition. A, city events. Mr. Ross.
Good evening. Just want to remind everyone that on Saturday, October 11th, we're going to have our Fall Fun Day at Bowie Nature Park from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. We're going to have a Touch a Truck event there, hay rides, food vendors, painting of pumpkins, games, bluegrass music, and much more with the park staff. And reminder, tomorrow is the homecoming parade, and it starts at 12:30 p.m. from the ballpark all the way down to Westwood, and then Westwood Elementary through the city, and then ending at the high school. And then we just received notice today that on the week of October the 6th, TDOT is going to do some road construction at Cumberland Drive and Fairview Boulevard, and it'll be down to one lane. There's going to be detour signs up as well. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
You said October 6th
The week of October 6th,
week.
that's what TDOT put out, but Eubank has put out that they're going to start on October the 4th, but we're going based upon what TDOT put out on their official platform.
Thank you. Item number 7, we have a group from Waves. Would you come forward, please? Hi there. If you just state your name and just tell us a little bit about the program.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. I am Stacy Davis, CEO at Waves Inc. Thank you, everyone, for allowing us to come and share a little bit about Waves, and thank you, Don Buffalini, for inviting us tonight. I just wanted to share a little bit about Waves. We are a nonprofit organization that was founded and started right here in Fairview 52 years ago, when the standard of care for an individual with intellectual and developmental disabilities, the standard of care for an individual with intellectual and developmental disabilities was institutionalization. And in 1973, a small group of families here in Fairview decided that they could provide a better standard of care for their loved ones. And so they decided to make Waves in the community for their loved ones. And that's how we were started. We were started as a day program that met 5 days a week to provide social activities, community outings, and just respite for those caregivers as well, so that their loved ones had somewhere to go since they weren't in school anymore. 52 years later, we are now a much, much larger program. Click it, yeah. And so here's some of our historical pictures. So we have been very present and active within the community over 52 years. And one thing that really sets Waves apart is that we provide services and programs throughout the full life cycle of an individual. So we are here for babies all the way until the end of need of services. While we were founded as a program to support adults, we have grown into an organization that also supports children that have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We do not provide health care, though. We are strictly in the business of providing independent life skills for the individuals that we support. Our mission and our goal is to empower each person that we support to progress towards their full potential. And so that looks different. So if you think about what your goals and what your independence looks like, it's different from the person that's sitting next to you. That's the exact same with every single person that we support. The services and programs that we provide at Waves are provided at no cost to their families. Every person that we support is on some sort of Medicaid waiver, or they're through the Tennessee Early Intervention Systems. So we do have an early learning program. We support children from birth until the age of 5. If they have a developmental delay or a developmental disability, we are able to go into their homes or their childcare settings to provide developmental therapy for them. The goal is to help provide them with a stable developmental foundation, so the hope that they don't have to have further intervention in the future. In Fairview this past year, we served 14 children. So there's 14 little babies that are in your community that have received services through WAVES. Now, 14 might not seem like a really big number, but when you break it down into the amount of hours in the therapy sessions, that's 217 sessions that were served right here in your community to help those children build that foundation. Just some more really cute pictures of the children that we support. In addition to our early learning services, we also have our adult services. That's what we were founded on. That's really like what we do. We do everything really well. But we still have our day program here in Fairview, and we also have an additional one in Franklin. We also have residential services. We have 5 homes throughout Williamson County, and 2 of them are right here in Fairview. We also have employment support services. So anybody who wants to get a job, we wrap around and help them get that job and help them be as independent as possible. In Fairview, we have 19 individuals who are receiving services on a daily basis in the community with intellectual and developmental disabilities. These are a couple of the recipients that we have here in Fairview. The outings that they get to go on are based on partnerships throughout the community. And so we are always looking for different ways to be able to partner with community members so that they can have access to the same things that we have access to on a daily basis. They just need a little bit more help sometimes than maybe you or me. So tonight, I brought with me one of my board members, Gary Anderson. He's not just a board member; he's also a supporter of our organization because he has a loved one in our organization. So I wanted him to share a little bit of his perspective as well, because as CEO, I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but it's much more personal when you hear from somebody who has benefited from the program. So I'm going to invite Gary to the mic.
And Gary and I are family, and Jeff is so special, and I've known him for a long, long time. So I'm so glad you're involved in this.
Thank you. I am Gary Anderson. I live right here in Fairview on Highway 96 North. And being a lifelong resident of Fairview, I did vote for some of you. We won't get into that. But this program has been special to our family. That's a picture of Jeff and I on my left up there. You can see we still have the same haircut today as we did back then, but we've lost a lot of it, so we had to go back to that. But Jeff was born, he's 2 years younger than me. He has cerebral palsy. When he was born, they told my parents that he probably wouldn't live to be a teenager, and he would probably have to be institutionalized. At that time, there were no real programs, even at his age, in elementary school age up to teenager, there were not even public school programs for him. So he had to go to Nashville to get in some special schools, and which he did, and they profited him well physically, mentally. But when he turned 18, he aged out of those programs. And like all the others that Stacy talked about, they had nowhere to go. It was either be institutionalized or be at home all the time. That was their only choices they have. So WAVES was started. My dad was pretty involved in it in 73. Jeff came in the program in 78, so he's been in it for a long time now. I can remember that because the year I got married as well. But he's been in that program. It has benefited our family. I could talk about it all night. From his development, being a part of a community of his peers, all the outings they went to, his growth, and just helping our family out as well. So as he got older and I got older and my parents got older, we got more involved in Jeff's care. And when my parents passed away, I was running my own business. I traveled extensively. My wife was a full-time nurse. And we were kind of in a quandary. We wanted to take care of Jeff because we had his care, but what do we do now? It was something. So one of the residential houses here in Fairview opened up on Hidden Lakes. One of the rooms opened up, and we applied. We were able to get in. He loved it because he always wanted his own place like I had and like my sister had. So this is Jeff's bachelor pad now. They're on Hidden Lakes. He's well taken care of there. We take care of his health care services and his financial services. They take care of him there. He is a big Dolly Parton fan. He's waiting for her to show up one day, not yet, and he's a big UT fan. So don't talk about Alabama if you get around him. But the residential program was literally a lifesaver for us. And so we've become the beneficiaries. Well, now, this year they invited me to come to be on the board, and I get to see the other side. How does all this happen? And it's a nonprofit organization, and we work through donations and grants through different cities that help us out, different organizations, in different places. We would love for Fairview to become a part of that. Since we are founded here in Fairview, I appreciate Don coming out and touring and seeing what Waves is all about. And I would invite any of you. I live in Fairview, so if you want to come and tour the facility sometime and see it, I'd love to take you there, because you will be surrounded by people that love you there. It's very special. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Appreciate Don inviting us here and just to share our program. And there again, we'd love for you to be involved in helping support what we do there. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Two things. It was just Jeff's birthday, right? Yes. That's right. So happy birthday to Jeff. And also, they have a podcast. You guys did not mention anything about the podcast, and you sent me the link, and I listened to it, and it was wild because it's the residents and the people that participate in the program that are actually running the podcast, and they kind of make fun of each other, so it's kind of funny, and it's very interesting, and it's something that I recommend to everybody. It was very nice to visit that location as well, so thank you.
Item 7C is United Communications. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, thanks for hosting us here. And Commissioner Buffalini, thank you for inviting us here to give an update on infrastructure. Gary, Stacy, what y'all do in the community is really amazing, and it's good to hear stories like that. And we love serving our communities. I'm a Williamson County resident. Our company, my name is William Bradford. I'm part of United Communications. We're headquartered in Franklin. And you've probably seen our crews busy around town. And Mayor, I know you've been really interested in infrastructure, and you probably get a lot of questions. And hopefully I've got nothing but good news to share on the infrastructure investment we're making in Fairview and in Williamson County as a whole. Were we able to get our slides up? Give it just 1 second. Real quick, just for the people that don't know us, United Communications is part of the Middle Tennessee Electric Organization. And so we are a not-for-profit member-owned cooperative. And a couple years ago, we identified a need in Fairview and throughout Williamson County. There was a lack of broadband. And especially, we were seeing a big digital divide, right? New neighborhoods were getting access to new services, while many residents that lived on farms and legacy neighborhoods were being left behind. And so we've partnered with communities like Fairview, with the county as a whole, with other cities, including Brentwood and Franklin, to see that every resident of Williamson County gets access to the latest generation of fiber optic internet. Great, here we go. So here I am today, and we're doing two things really unique. Because we're part of Middle Tennessee Electric, we're not only building a state-of-the-art fiber network, we're building what's called a smart grid infrastructure. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that tonight, but I want you all to know, as we connect businesses and residents to the community, we're also connecting the grid infrastructure to fiber optics. And what that allows us to do, working alongside Middle Tennessee Electric, is to deploy the latest generation of technology that automates how the grid heals itself. So if you have storms come through, if you have a truck that takes down a power line, there's lots of construction in this area, sometimes utilities are hit. What that does is allow the grid to heal itself, and many times residents don't even know that there's been an outage because in less than a millisecond, the network's able to reroute around a potential issue. And there's not many communities in America that have access to this technology, and Williamson County and Fairview specifically are benefiting from that as we build this fiber broadband network. Let's see. We are, like you heard from Waves, we are a mission-driven organization. We are serving our communities. We have all local employees. We've grown from 40 to 225 employees, all in Middle Tennessee, that are here to serve you. Our call center's here. Our technicians are here. When you call us, you get a local resident taking care of your issue. And luckily, we've built a really good network, so you don't have to call us too much. Right here, we've invested $265 million in Middle Tennessee. 50 million of that has been invested in Williamson County over the last 2 years. So as you know, infrastructure is expensive, but we've made a commitment to this community to bring the latest state-of-the-art services here. I already mentioned this, but while the slides were coming up, we've been around for a long time, serving rural unserved areas, formerly United Telephone Company, but we've re-envisioned the company to be a fiber optic communications company, part of Middle Tennessee Electric, which is also very ingrained in the community. Local company, you already heard from Waves. I was interested to hear your Touch a Truck event. Let us know. We love to send bucket trucks and participate in those events. So we'd love to get plugged in to many of the community events that you have and support part of what you're doing to serve the community. So let us know how we can participate. We love being in part of Christmas parades and Touch a Truck events, and maybe even how you serve your own residents through adopting technology. I know that's still a challenge for a lot of our neighbors, and so we want to be part of the community, and don't hesitate to reach out to us as you have some of your own initiatives. I like to brag on the team. Right, when you bring infrastructure, and especially when you bring broadband infrastructure, there's still all these other providers and a lot of noise in the community. And what we've said, we've got to be better than everybody else. And so one thing we do is if you do business with us, we send you a survey once a year. And every time you have an interaction with us, you get a survey. And we read those every day. Our entire management team, the first email in the morning is the list of surveys from the prior day. If you don't give us a rating of anything other than a 9 and 10 out of a scale of 10, you're getting a call from one of our local reps saying, what do we do? And lots of people give us 7s, just because they're not 10-star people. And we're calling them and say, hey, how can we do better? And so you can see that. That's Net Promoter Score here on the left. That's measured on a scale of -100 to 100. And as an internet service provider, I'm pleased to tell you, Mayor, that we are in the 80s on Net Promoter Score. We get great reviews from our customers. As you would suspect, the large public companies are typically in the 0 to -40 range. So we've said we've got to be better from a customer service standpoint. We've got over 2,000 Google reviews for all of y'all that run small businesses. You live and die about what people say about you online. And I know being in public service, it probably applies too. I'm pleased to say with over 2,000 Google reviews, we're at 4.7 stars, and we're really proud of that, and we stand behind our services that we offer. I already mentioned this, but really what got us here was Project Unite. We saw a need. There was over 5,000 homes and businesses in Williamson County just 3 years ago that still had no access to internet, many of them right here in Fairview. I'm sure you were hearing from your residents for years, especially as they were working from home during COVID or taking school from home, that the lack of internet was a real problem in this community. And so we're pleased to say, as part of a $50 million partnership, we've brought in some state funds. Williamson County has contributed some funds. We've made the largest investment in broadband infrastructure really in any county. I'm really proud of how far it's come. We'll be, by the end of 2026, we'll be confident in being able to say there's not a single home or business in the entire county that lacks access to broadband, and really pleased with the response here in Fairview from your citizens and switching over to our service. Like to show a map. This is a zoomed out map to date. We've been really focused across 10 counties in Middle Tennessee. We're only a Tennessee-based business. We're only a Middle Tennessee-based business, but we've brought service to 48,000 homes and businesses throughout Middle Tennessee that have never had access to internet, and 7,000 more will be completed by the middle of 2026. And then here's Fairview. You asked about where we are specifically in bringing service to every resident of Fairview. I'm pleased to say our first phase is complete. Green is good. That means 2,700 homes and businesses in the Fairview municipal boundary have access to our service, with roughly another 700 coming up in the next phase of homes, and that will really get us to substantially complete in the city of Fairview, and we're really proud of the response in the community and the quality of the network and local customer service that we've brought here. With that, I thought I'd pause for a second and see if there's any questions or if there's anything else we can do to be of service to you. We'll hit it. We're pleased, really pleased about this next slide. And so we're redefining what FAST means. And so we've got a special certification we want to give the city of Fairview, and it'll really be the first in the state of Tennessee, and we anticipate doing this in some other places. But we are going to officially certify tonight, on behalf of Middle Tennessee Electric and United Communications, that Fairview is officially a certified 8 gig community. And 8 gig is crazy fast. It's the fastest internet in the state of Tennessee. It's over 80 times as fast as the average broadband speed in the state of Tennessee. And so we're really excited. We're coupling that with the latest generation of Wi-Fi that we include with our service. Wi-Fi 7 is just really, for all of y'all that use internet in your home, having really good Wi-Fi in the house is an important complement to having that connection to the side of the house. And so we've really brought the 2 latest generation of technologies right here to Fairview and coupled it with great customer service. So we're really, really excited about that. And again, couldn't, as you all know, it's hard running a local business, and couldn't be more pleased with the response from the community on the services we've brought here and being part of this community. So with that, Tom, if y'all haven't met Tom, he runs our business development. He also serves his community as a Williamson County Commissioner, and y'all got to meet Joe, who serves our business community and is active in many chambers of commerce and economic development. So we invest our time in the communities, but we have a special plaque we want to leave with you, certifying that the city of Fairview is now officially 8 gig certified. Mayor.
And Joe came out to one of Miss Carol's coffees and did a great job explaining this speed, and a lot of people were really excited and want to get on board. So I'm so excited for you to be in Fairview, and especially I'm excited. So I know with this kind of speed, you're going to have a lot of people reaching out. So we're excited that you got to meet a lot of business people at the Round Town Coffee that our economic development officer does, and I think you got to make a lot of good connections there. And welcome to Fairview. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's a great place to do business, and
So
that means a lot. We like to joke you can't move a network once you build it, and so we love being in places that are good places to do business.
And we like high speed, or at least I do. So what we're going to do is, if you'll come forward and stand up front, we'll get a picture with all of the board and your, what do we call it, a statue? No. Plaque? Yeah.
Mayor, I do have one question for United. Sure. You guys have can you talk briefly about your referral program?
Yeah, we like to speak. We like to let our service and our actions speak for themselves. So we have a referral program, whereas if you've signed up for our service and you like it, you can refer us to one of your neighbors, and we'll give you. Are we at $50? $100. Right, so we're spreading the wealth around. So if you are a customer already and you want to let your neighbors know, as you know, we send out mailers and we talk to the community, but some people still haven't heard about us. And so if you're liking your service in the room, please don't hesitate to let your neighbor know, and we'll give you $100 and your neighbor $100.
Thank you.
I've got some cards if anybody wants to see how to sign up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8, staff comments and monthly reports. A, Planning Department report, Mr. Greer.
Thank you, Board. For July 1st through August 31st, we issued 31 single-family new build permits, 10 townhome permits. So for calendar year 2025, that brings us to 121 single-family permits and 162 townhome permits. We're currently reviewing projects. We have our planning commission coming up here in, not next week due to fall break, but the following Tuesday. We have 10 items on that agenda, several development projects, several rezonings. For our department improvements, let me hop over to Keith and Bree. Can you put ClickShare up, please? For our department improvements, as y'all know, we've moved over to GovWell this last week, and this will be coming online to the City of Fairview's website, but currently you can access it through GovWell. We've added a citizens concerns portal. Within that portal, you can go in and submit a code enforcement concern to our office, a public works concern to our office, or a stormwater concern to our office. The stormwater concerns are a great opportunity. It's unlimited space to be able to add pictures and videos. Typically, those concerns come to us and the pictures or videos are too large to attach as an email attachment. And so this gives an opportunity for those that come directly into our office. The person who submits them can either choose to remain anonymous, or they can choose to receive updates and get updates on their concerns as our city staff work through those concerns. And so just wanted to make you all aware of those items. We did have a presentation today. Mr. Halliburton went and spoke with the Williamson County Association of Realtors and gave a presentation on all of the projects that are going on within the city of Fairview to help promote the city and help promote all of our projects across the county. I believe that is it that I have for tonight. Oh, yeah. One other item. Our office, our physical location will be closed tomorrow due to some building maintenance. If anyone has any planning or permitting items that need to be addressed, please come to City Hall tomorrow to address those. We will have staff here, but not at our regular location.
Mayor? Yes. Thank you for your update, Mr. Greer. On Monday, there was a meeting of the group that is reviewing the TPUDC zoning ordinances. How did that go, and do you have any updates for us?
Correct. So Monday, we had a public meeting where we had our development code staff committee review citizens' comments, items that we had from a staff that, after our staff reviewed the citizens' comments, what we brought to the development code committee. We went through several pages of items. I think the last meeting I reported, we had 6 people turn in comments. Ultimately, we ended somewhere around that 75 number of citizens that gave comments. And so we went through those comments. I feel like we've addressed several of the items that were very important to multiple people. There are some things that are either unavailable for a municipality to address due to state law that some folks believe we should be addressing, but we don't have the legal right to do that. or there were some things that were just completely against the vision of Fairview. And so we tried our best to accommodate everything that was in the vision and in the spirit of Fairview. We have submitted our responses back to TPUDC. We will have minutes coming out from that meeting here shortly, and we will have our final draft coming out here as soon as TPUDC gets our responses answered. So
Did they give you a timeline for that?
I do not have an exact timeline. I would expect that it is prior to the end of this month.
Thank you very much.
Could you just repeat how the citizens, what the process is when they go to GovWell to put a comment in, and then how the planning department codes reviews that and how the process works?
So for a citizen to submit a concern, they can log in to GovWell. If you Google GovWell, the web address is app.govwell.com/Fairview, brings you to this homepage that I'm at today. And we will be putting a link for the citizens' concerns on the city website as well. Unfortunately, I was out of office today, and so I didn't get that completed. But for a citizen to complete it, they would select which concern that they have. If they have a code enforcement concern, they would select that. They would start the application, and then they would put the address of the concern. So you can enter any address in the city. They can provide comments about what their concern is about that address. They can select a concern type. There's also an option for other. They can put a description if they choose other, and they can add pictures. That comes into our office as a citizen concern, just like if you would have called it in or emailed it in. But it puts it into our tracking system to where we have a inspection requirement. Our inspector is able to go out and get notified immediately that someone has submitted a concern. So if they're out doing another inspection and they have something come in and say, oh, well, that's right down the road, they can go and do that immediately instead of coming back to the office, receiving an email, and then having to go back out. So it can make things quite a bit simpler in terms of communication. With this, as things progress, the applicant would be notified if it's under investigation or if there is a code violation that's noted. And the process for code violations is once a violation is notified to the property owner, we have to provide an opportunity for them to remedy the situation. Typically, that's 21 days from their notice of violation. If it's not remedied at that point, we give them a second opportunity to remedy the situation, and then that time frame is also 21 days. And then after that second time frame, if it is still not remedied, then we will cite them to municipal court, and the judicial system takes over the process from there.
You reach it back out to them through the email that they provide
The system automatically will send updates to the
to let them know where it
person
is in
who
the process.
notified us if they choose not to remain anonymous. If they choose to remain anonymous, they're not going to get any updates because we will not have their information.
But if they are not anonymous, then they'll know where it is in the process.
Correct. They'll be able to log in and see that, hey, it's under investigation, the city's looking at it, or the city issued a notification.
Mayor?
Yes.
I believe it was the last Planning Commission meeting, there was a lot of interest in additional opportunities for public input on the regulations and between now and the finish line. without us adding anything, just what's set in place now, can you briefly recap those opportunities and kind of what that's going to look like? I know we've done it,
Yeah.
but just to,
So for the public input process, we had a 30-day window of public comment with the public draft, and that was a contractual window that we had with our contract. Going above and beyond our contract, we will have a public hearing at the Planning Commission meeting when the Planning Commission reviews the final draft and makes their recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. We'll have a public hearing at the first reading with the Board of Commissioners, and then we will have a public hearing with the second and final reading as well with the Board of Commissioners. So we will have 3 public hearings coming up with the final draft to allow for as many people who would like to come speak can come and speak. Our expectation is that the public hearing and the final draft is available, hopefully. Our expectation will be in November at the Planning Commission, in December at the Board of Commissioners, and in January at the Board of Commissioners. So across 3 months, we will have 3 public hearings where every citizen in Fairview, if they would like, can come and speak. That way, you as the legislative body can make the best and informed decision that you can.
thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Greer. Item 8B, Public Works Department Report. Mr. Darty.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. As usual, Public Works very busy during the first quarter of the year. First, they start off helping with the July 3rd event, pretty much from beginning to end, cleaning up. They've patched numerous places in the city, asphalt, potholes and such. Maintained stormwater drains and ditches throughout the city. They've trimmed low-hanging limbs throughout the central part of the city. They have replaced or repaired 27 city street signs. They removed a fallen tree that was blocking Old Franklin Road. They assisted Tennessee Valley Paving in the resurfacing projects throughout the city. They helped from beginning to end with setting up Nature Fest, the event. They started the right-of-way mowing in the city. They completed the chipper service for the months of July, August, and September, and installed utilities and made back parking lot for the temporary fire station out on 96. The fire department's just about ready to move into that. So they, Todd and his crew helped get a lot of that set up. They also completed 49 additional work orders that pertain to cities' right-of-way and properties. And that is the end of the report for the first quarter. Thank you.
Any questions from the board for Mr. Darty for Public Works? Thank you. Item 8C, Parks Department report. Would that be Ms. Bree? Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Board. I have some exciting updates about our beloved park system. We don't have a visitor count this month. As you guys know, our last counter broke. We have ordered a new one, and we're just waiting for it to be shipped to the Nature Center. All right, our Bowie homeschool registration and waitlist hit record highs. We filled up 5 out of 6 homeschool sessions with 30 attendees each in just a matter of days. I want to thank Carrie Saeed. She's our volunteer naturalist. She helped us get our homeschool program together, and she took the same naturalist program that myself and the naturalist took. We've had 3 semesters of homeschool so far. They're all going really great. And I just want to thank the homeschool families and friends for their support. because we have a great following for our programs now. Oh, yeah, I'm a certified Tennessee naturalist now. Hooray.
Yay.
Thank you. We have installed a kindness rock garden in front of the treehouse playground sign. So this is just a little open space where you can paint rocks. You can either pick rocks up and share them with your friends when you see them, or you can paint rocks and add to the collection for others to enjoy. The message is to spread positivity, and it's just kind of nice to see a little glimmer of hope maybe on a rainy day sometimes. If you do decide to paint rocks, just a little side note, please use acrylic paints, use a sealer, and please do not add sequins or jewels so that the paint doesn't run and animals don't eat things off of your rock. Our total closure is complete. We visited Grow Wild down the road for our vegetation. The purpose of this enclosure is to give our ambassador animals a more natural place to interact with their environment versus being stuck in a cage all day and getting taken out for programs and whatnot. Our land trust sign has been ordered. If you look in the top right there, that is what the land trust sign will look like. It has dedicated by the buoys and just the land trust logo. And I believe that will go near one of our gardens. Am I correct, Mr. Hall? All right. And then Bowie is now a certified Monarch Watch way station. So if you have more than 10 milkweed plants, you can certify yourself as a Monarch Watch way station, which provides monarch butterflies a place to rest and refuel during their annual migration, which is actually happening right now. Our last program was a Monarch Watch tagging event where we were supposed to tag butterflies. Unfortunately, they're migrating, so they're way up high. We didn't get to tag any, but our last program had attendance in the 30s. So all of our programs are going really great right now. Oh, my favorite. Our Bowie Storybook Trail grand opening is happening October 11th from 9 to 10. We will be reading with the public, so we're going to have a Read with a Naturalist event where we're going to guide people down the trail and read them the story and kind of interact with characters and things like that. I want to thank our Bowie Storybook Trail sponsors. So we have the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation, which is kind of the main sponsor over this event. This is who we get our books from, as well as Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. I'd also like to thank the Friends of Bowie Nature Park and First Bank of Fairview for their generous donations and support in terms of getting this storybook trail installed. It would not have been possible without them. I'd like to thank Publix, the Fairview Publix team for coming out and installing our storybook trail signs. So they installed the posts that the books will lay upon. And then the Charlotte, North Carolina Publix team I'd like to thank because they sponsored our grand opening event. So we will have snacks and refreshments there. All right, and then right after the Storybook Trail grand opening, we have our Fall Fun Day celebration, which will be October 11th, same day as the Storybook Trail opening, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we'll just transition from the trail opening to Fall Fun Day. We'll have a touch of trek with the Fairview Fire Department and the Police Department. Fairview Public Works will lead the hay rides. Bowie Bluegrass is going to come jam with us for a while, and we have a lot of other really great activities and people coming as well. So I hope to see everybody there. And that's, if you look on the left, that's just some of the different types of programs that we offer at Bowie: summer camps, homeschool programs, partnerships, field trips, the new Storybook Trail, wink, wink. So yeah, we'd love to interact with the community more and have more schools visiting for us for field trips and whatnot. And then on the right is our Fairview Park System newsletter that just has kind of news going on about the park and then upcoming programs for that month. All right, and I want to thank everybody for their support. If you want to find out more news, if you want to find a, excuse me, y'all. For Fairview Park System news, volunteer opportunities, and upcoming programs and events, please check out our website, our Facebook page, the Fairview Park System newsletter. If you'd like to subscribe, my info's up there, as well as the Loblolly Times newsletter that's run by the Friends of Bowie Nature Park, as well as the Friends of Bowie Nature Park website, and various flyers around Fairview. That's all.
Any questions from the
Congratulations.
board?
Well, not a question, sorry, Mayor. Congratulations on your certification as a naturalist, Bree. That's huge.
Thank you so much.
So exciting, all the programs that you have going on, and so many people taking advantage, and all the children. When we do the grand opening for the Storybook Trail, are we going to do some type of ribbon cutting or some type of... Was that
Yes.
me?
Yes, we will have a ribbon cutting event.
Okay. And just to explain where the Storybook Trail is, I know where it is, but for the community, so
So
they
the
know where to go.
Yeah, the Storybook Trail is going to be right behind the Nature Center. If you go through both pairs of double doors on the Nature Center, you're eventually going to end up behind it. And that trail, you'll see a big, beautiful archway I'm finishing this weekend, and that marks the entrance to the Storybook Trail.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
Bree,
Hall.
I'm gonna have to ask, since you put the sign up there, did they give a time frame on when it would be ready?
No, they did not.
Okay, just thought I would need to ask.
All
Thank you. Thank y'all for getting it in order too, by the way. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Item 8D is Economic Development Report. Ms. Carroll?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, I don't know why I have to go after Bree. I mean, this is going to be really boring compared. And I don't have any cute slides, so it's, like I said, a little boring. I went with the same format where I've listed all of the government and regional collaborations that we do as economic community development. Listed down there are reoccurring things, so I just decided each time I'm going to just give you a brief summary. May not do everything, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But as I told you before, we participate in a Williamson County Safety Action Plan. It was a grant from Williamson County. They asked each city to participate in. So once we're done with that, hopefully it'll be a great opportunity to go seek grants, and we'll be able to use that data. They did come out to Nature Fest, and they set up a table for the citizens could fill out a survey. We do have that online. I did share it with several different social media sites. So we really, really, really would love the citizens to take the time. This is your opportunity to talk about traffic issues. So as y'all know, I'm a member of the Williamson Inc. Board of Directors. So I just kind of did a highlight of what our meeting was about. At this month's meeting, President CEO Matt Largent, who highlighted regional growth challenges and the importance in strategic planning focused areas, including education, attainable housing, transportation solutions. Presentations included Development Outlook by Mary McGowan with Kimberly Horn, and Airport Rail Initiative from Chuck Abbott of Grade Line. Report covered upcoming events such as Williamson Ford trip to Minneapolis, and it included economic development activities with state incentives for R&D projects and programs they presented from the Black Business Coalition, the Small Business Coalition. They talked about workshops and events. And then also, as y'all know, I'm the chairperson of the Williamson County Economic Development Council, and this is where all the cities come together and kind of share about growth and projects and stuff they have going on. I listed several events I've attended, ribbon cuttings. I did highlight, y'all know that I've started the coffee, this economic group. I've asked community members, businesses, if you wanted to receive emails with updates about the coffee, community events to sign up. We've had a great response, and it's really grown. I mean, I have a lot of people I'm able to inform. So I've had several people reach out and pretty much ask to be added to the email list. So, and by doing that, you'll get information about the coffees, but then you will also get information about local community events. So we had Goldstein Insurance who had a grand reopening, so I was able to share that with the group. Elevate Gym opening, which many of y'all were able to attend. I was able to share that with the coffee group. So just several stuff. I know Williamson Inc. had an event where many of y'all know that Wilson Lumber bought Nashville Lumber. So that was a Williamson Inc. ribbon cutting here in Fairview. So, and then we had our State of the City. So the mayor, city manager, we had school superintendent here, and many of the commissioners were here. Also, as far as continuing to attract and grow businesses, I'm still working with a manufacturer. I'm meeting with somebody next week, a new potential one. So it's kind of hanging out. I don't have anything to report because we've had a lot of potential property that just didn't work out due to either the demographics of the property or just it didn't work out due to water and sewer. So, but they're still talking and still around, so there's nothing new to report on that. Also, you know, you never know what kind of calls you're going to get. I had a call for somebody that was interested in a hotel, you know, what's property is available. So now I wouldn't get overly excited about that, but it's the first initial conversation. So I went ahead and listed that on the report. Also, we're still in conversations with healthcare providers that are interested in moving or coming into Fairview. As y'all know, the Rounder Town Coffee, Commissioner Roberts encouraged me to get some feedback. And, you know, it's hard to ask people, what do you think? Or how is this benefiting you? But it's been kind of fun because I get to, if somebody says something, I kind of choose, if you make the mistake, Joe, of saying, hey, I got these leads. So I pretty much reached out and said, hey, give me the feedback. What's the benefit? Also included in the package, we have somebody that actually hosted a coffee and gave their feedback. And thank you, Commissioner Buffalini, because, well, Stacy's gone, but as y'all know, I do community partners each month, and Stacy Davis was one of the community partners that I invited, and she got to tell about the WAVES program. So anytime we can do that, that is good stuff. Moving down, growth and project and planning activities. The mayor and I were invited to attend a Region 3 to meet the new TDOT meeting, to meet the new commissioner, and they discussed Region 3 plans. So also attended the monthly GNRC meeting, which that is something I regularly attend because we're always looking for opportunity to be educated what's going on in the region and look for grants. So Moving on down, something new that we added is the actual Transportation Coordination Committee meetings. This is called TCC. It's Advisory Transportation and Policy Board on matters pertaining to the Regional Transportation Plan and programs on behalf of the Nashville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, TCC, composed of staff representatives and local government, state and federal transportation agencies, and public transit agencies, county highway department, and airport. So it's a good meeting to attend and have a seat at the table in the conversation. So now a member representing the city of Fairview on that. So other projects, as y'all know, I've been working with Tom to try to put together a summary background portion of the city economic development plan. Let's see, and now we got the numbers, and we may have to have Ethan's input on this, but so as you can tell, building permits, revenue, it's actually down from this time, this quarter last year. Tom and I talked about it. He kind of feels like has more to do with the changing of the software, and it's not anything to be concerned that it's going to even itself out. Property taxes, we are up 59% compared to same quarter a year ago. And then sales tax, we are up 3%. So that's all good news. And I guess unless you have some questions, something else I'm doing fun is I've been working on I found we don't have a good list of businesses. So if people come in, they're like, can you tell me about this business or what's in town? And typically, the only thing we had was what the state provides when you get your business license. And it's just really hard to tell because a lot of people do their business as LLC. There's not an actual name. So I've been kind of taking some time putting together a good list, and hopefully I'll be able to present that to y'all pretty soon. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody and then try to add the new businesses as they come. So unless y'all have questions for me, that's my quarterly report.
Mayor?
Yes.
Ms. Carroll, would there be an option for a business directory on our website?
Yeah, I mean, as we get this list, I can basically contact these businesses and ask them, do you want to be included on this? For right now, I've just compiled the list of names, but it's something, now I have a working list I can go by. It would be easy to say, hey, if you want to be listed, provide me with your information. It's really interesting about the state and what we can just get. Somebody can't come in and say, hey, I want to print off, a copy of all the business license. It's not, it's hard. It's harder to do. And so this will open up some opportunities where we can put something on the website. Good idea. Thank you.
And one other question. What exactly is Fairview going to benefit from the TCC?
Yeah.
If you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good question. All the cities that participate in the regional GNRC, they have representation. We haven't had that. And through the mayor and I, some of our conversations, that we realized that we didn't have somebody representing the city of Fairview, and these other cities did. Talked to Ethan, because I said, you sure you don't want this task? And he said, no, go for it. And so hopefully, a lot of times they'll do some of the digging and collaboration for projects. And so it's just a partner with the GNRC, the Mayor's Council. So, they may do studies. There's some pre-work that's going to be done. So we're just getting a seat at the table. So when conversations or opportunities come up, then we have the opportunity to participate. Spring Hill has it, Franklin has it, all the other cities in the Middle Tennessee area have a representation. It was something that we did not quite realize that we didn't have that seat at the table. So the mayor emailed and we got representation.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Roberts.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Just a quick question. Was there a write-up? You were referring to what sounded like a report. Did I miss something? Was there something written that we were receiving?
Yeah, Rachel put it in your packet. It was an add-on today. I could have printed it off. I did for the mayor, but I'm glad to give you a copy
Thanks.
of the emails.
Yeah, I didn't get any, possible I missed it, but I didn't see it. But, okay. All right, I was looking at that. I didn't, but thanks. Okay, that's great. I can just review it later. Thank you.
Well, and unfortunately, it was something added this morning because I was waiting for responses, so you may not have had an opportunity. But
Yeah, I
I'm
had a
glad to
full
get
day,
you a copy,
If it's in the digital packet, then I'll get it. Yeah, I just didn't have time today to review. Okay.
Well, and I know y'all review them probably way before now, but so,
Were we told that there was an update to it? Did an update about the update come out?
I don't know how that works, Rachel.
I just update it when they send me stuff. I got Bree's report like yesterday and I added it on there, and I got Patty's today and I added it on there. So I just update it as I receive it.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else would find it helpful to get some kind of just a nudge that we could look at it again. I usually do all my preparation the night before because I typically work all day and then do my best to get here on time. Even if it's the person who submits it, so we don't put extra work on Miss Rachel, if we could just give us all a little bit of a heads up so we just know? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I mean, I could have emailed it to y'all. I, sent it to her this morning at 8, and I get that. Y'all had a full day. You did a workshop. You didn't get to come home. So if not, I also can leave it up here too. But yeah, we'll
Thanks.
work on
It's no big
getting
deal. I
that.
was just,
Yeah.
I knew I had to be missing something, and I thought, well, I'll just ask just in case.
Yeah, I
Yep.
appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Item 8E, City Manager Report. Oh, thank you, Ms. Carroll. Item 8E, City Manager Report, Mr. Darty.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We have Chief Hughes wanted me to remind everyone that on October 7th from 6 to 9 is Commissioner Fire Academy. For those of you that are interested in attending, or are able to attend, I think there will be some food provided, and I think you will get an education that evening. I think academy is a good word. We'll also have a town hall scheduled for the 30th at the end of this month. I want to give a couple of updates. The training, the police department training facility is just about finished with all the design. We will be bringing that to you in a meeting very soon for approval. The property has been closed on. We have gotten just about all of the preliminary work done. I anticipate once the board approves, we will move rapidly to get that constructed. That is that. We've got, we'll be bringing you, we've been working with Kimley Horn on the design of Historic Village. and we'll be bringing that to the board for approval. We have been looking at some funding opportunities. Looks like there's a grant opportunity. I don't have the name of it right in front of me, but it's a 50-50 match, and Kimley Horn thinks we have a very good opportunity to get it for several reasons. The main reason is of our Parks Master Plan. Another good reason is that we have never received this grant before, and that it's an entire package grant that will put together a complete park. So it's not just a set aside thing. So they really, we check a lot of boxes for this grant. We've also been talking to some donors, also looking at other ways to fund certain aspects of it. So that'll be coming. We've been just kind of trying to, how we're going to do this, kind of looking at it. So hopefully we'll have some of those answers. And granted, we still have to apply, we still have to get it, but at least you can see what we've been working on. I guess the only other thing, we've been very busy. A lot of folks are getting continuing education this time of year. I attended the Tennessee City Manager Association conference last week. I'm in the Tennessee Government Finance Officers Association fall conference this week, and so it's Ben Knox is also attending that as well, and we've been hitting emails as we can, and we've been taking care of business and trying to keep those licenses up to date, and been very busy the last couple of weeks. But I've just all of our staff has just done a great job over this quarter, and I'm very pleased with how things are going currently in the first quarter of the city. That's about all I have to report on tonight.
Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor McDonald?
Didn't know when we were going to have an opportunity to bring this up, but since you mentioned the town hall, I feel like now's no better time. That night is a Thursday evening, and it is also the last home game for the high school football team, as well as senior night. So I don't know if we feel that's going to be a conflict. We probably want to reschedule.
Let's have it the next night. Halloween. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So is the game on
It's a
Thursday because Halloween is Friday?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So I guess I'll take nominations for another day.
How's
Thinking
Tuesday
the
the 28th?
28th?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
too. Anybody have a
Tuesday?
Tuesday the 28th?
That's fine with me.
Any conflict? Okay. So do we need to, Mr. Carter, do we need to vote on the change of that? It's not a voting meeting, but
It's a, it's a public meeting. I don't think
Yes.
you need to have a vote to change it. I think you just need to announce the new date, advertise it accordingly.
okay. So Richard, I know that you'll post it. We're going to make the announcement that because of the last Fairview High School football game on the 30th, Thursday, and also it's senior night, so we hope that everybody comes out and supports our football team. We are going to move our town hall, which I encourage anyone who wants to come. It's just a laid-back session where we can talk and dialogue, where we can't do that here. It will be Tuesday, October 28th at 7 till 9 p.m.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor? Mr. Dougherty, when did we close on that property?
Tuesday morning, I believe.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So I'm just curious, was there an email sent out to the board about the,
With the agenda for me to close.
no, I'm saying, was there an update email sent out?
Yes, I believe I sent it out. I can't remember the exact day I sent it out, but I sent it out before tonight's meeting, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe. I'd have to check on the date.
Okay, I didn't receive any information on that, but that's okay.
No, anybody else get it? I thought I sent it to everybody. If you didn't get it, I apologize.
Not a worry. Another question that I do have, how much do we have in our reserves account?
Pushing $1.7 million.
And is that earmarked for anything?
No, earmarked for reserves.
What do we typically use reserve for?
Just reserves. It's a rainy day fund in case what breaks out and we need funds. It's not. It's our goal. Our goal is to get to 20%. We're at 15% of operating expenses currently. So we're adding 1% each year till we get to 20%. And we may be at 16 already. I'll have to double check on that, but it's either 15 or 16% currently of our operating expenditures.
So normally on a yearly basis, on a fiscal year, we'll keep up to 20% or at 20% in reserve?
That's the goal that the board set a few years back to get, and it was I'm not sure if it's an ordinance or a resolution, but it has been it's a legislative document that states that we're moving towards that 20%, 1% increasing at 1% a year. And I can get you that document if you so choose.
Okay, thank you.
Or Rachel can, either one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor, just a FYI, it was the email was Monday, and you just had mentioned that closing documents were being signed the following day.
That was coupled with an email about the strategic planning session.
Any other questions from the board of Mr. Darty? Okay. Item number 9, consent agenda. A, minutes from September 18th, 2025, Board of Commissioner regular meeting. B, second and final reading, ordinance 2025-19, ordinance 2025-19, an ordinance for an amendment to the City of Fairview, Tennessee budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 9 passes 5-0. Item 10, old business. A, second and final reading, ordinance 2025-16, rezoning of Boone Street. I will now open the public hearing. Seeing no one to speak, I will close the public hearing. Ordinance 2025-16, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 17.74 acre parcel located on the north side of Boone Street, east of Fairview Boulevard, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 042, parcel 132.00 from RS40 Single Family Residential to RS8 Single Family Residential. Property owner Christine Bryson. Mr. Greer.
This item comes to you tonight with a positive recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission for a rezoning to RS8. This property in our 2040 comprehensive plan is designated as residential transition, which lists appropriate zones of RS5, RS8, RS15, RM8, RM12, RM20 as appropriate. The request for RS8 is an appropriate use. It lists appropriate uses of single-family detached within the 2040 comprehensive plan for this property. And so it is in compliance with the 2040 plan. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Would the representative please come forward?
My name's Kevin O'Brien with CLQ Land, 6700 Tower Circle, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Mr. O'Brien?
Mayor,
Yes.
thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Just to give us a better idea of the plan for this, how many units are you planning on developing and what would they look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we're here for rezone, so we can get into details at site plan, but I don't mind answering. We have an estimate of 42 to 45 single-family homes, detached product, all for sale. I think there's some challenges on the site that would make it impossible to go any higher than that.
And I know this is a rezoning, but I don't really get a lot of opportunity to talk again about this until it goes through several other iterations. So I just kind of want to get an idea. So thank you for meandering down that road with me. And this is sort of for Mr. Greer, more than for Mr. O'Brien. I have concerns about this particular area coming out onto Highway 100 due to the congestion that I imagine could happen here. We've talked about this before where Boone Street doesn't really line up with the entryway that will be coming out of City Center, and there will be a light there, right? So there'll be a light at City Center. This won't line up with that, so it'll be another entryway with the, this is where Dr. Dothero and the physical therapists are located, along with a couple of existing homes, and then another 42 to 45 units. And that it's a little road, but this particular area of town is starting to look like it'll get very congested. We've just put in the townhomes, the townhome development Cedar Crest. There's that other property that's been cleared and the pad created so that there potentially could be something else there. All of these have entryways directly onto 100. And then there's going to be another light potentially put there for the city center. This feels really just congested and kind of a little bit of a hassle to me. So I don't know the answer right now, but 42 to 45 new units coming into this place at this moment in time just doesn't feel like something that is in the best interest of Fairview. But I'm willing to listen to somebody explain to me how this could work well on 100 right now.
I can answer as far as I can, and I don't know if Ethan wants to comment. I mean, again, I would like to reiterate, we're here for the rezone. That will allow our firm to go spend significantly more dollars on design, and we'll have a great answer. But we do connect into Cedar Crest right now, the city. You can actually even see it on that map. That's a public road that's stubbed into our site. It actually also contains all the utilities that we have full capacity for, necessitating that to be our connection. Cedar Crest has had a traffic study done. So this wouldn't be, I don't think it's what you meant, but I heard it, so sorry, Commissioner Roberts. It wouldn't be an additional out onto 100, it would be through an existing.
The existing being,
Cedar Crest.
would they come out onto Boone Street also?
That's something we're gonna have to consider at site plan design that we just don't know enough about yet.
And I have an opportunity now to share with you my concerns about what that would be while we're talking about the rezoning.
Yes.
And please understand, I mean, this is what we're dealing with now in Fairview, just an awful lot of growth. Coming up after you, there are a couple more public hearings about some annexations and rezoning, and this is huge. So every time we approve this, it's going to impact our city and the people who live here. And so I know it's a rezoning, and I understand that, and I really do appreciate everyone bearing with me on it, but it is relevant to what we're talking about tonight. So I do appreciate it being a rezoning. I understand that, but these are important questions that we really have to consider even at this stage. We should consider them at the annexation, in my opinion. We have to consider them at the rezoning as well, just at least in a conversation and talk about the realities of what we're discussing.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Mayor? Ethan, what would the difference in rooftops be from a 40 to an RS8? Number-wise.
It's 17 acres, so theoretical with RS40, you would have 17 homes. Mr. O'Brien just spoke that they were looking at 42 to 45 homes on that 17 acres. So that's the difference in 1 acre lots versus. And this site, it does have several challenging pieces to it, from topo and streams and different pieces that flow across it, floodplain. I don't think at RS40 you could probably get 17. I think you would probably be less than that.
Yeah, I share the same concern as Commissioner Roberts. I do see two outlets, one through Cedar Crest and one off of Boone as well, and I see exactly what she means by where the traffic light's going to be located at City Center and what's coming from the left and right, and just seeing an additional, you're saying 40 to 45 to 47 rooftops. That's what, 100 cars on average?
I believe you
Give or
said
take.
42 to 45.
42 to 45. So we're looking at 84 average cars just into that city center area. Not to mention, I understand that you said with Cedar Crest, they had a traffic study done, but that was based off of what's there now, and not adding what you guys are looking to do by adding the additional traffic. And then we have Chester Reserve, and then
Commissioner,
we have some others.
I will note that during conversations, and this is not particular to this project, but you have seen the adjacent property that was also projected to come through Cedar Crest. When that came through, TDOT did review that traffic study, and there were no recommendations. And that one, I believe, had 115 homes attached to that. And so it would be my belief, TDOT obviously has not reviewed anything with this particular project because they're not into a development plan, but likely there would be no improvements needed at the Cedar Crest entrance. Cedar Crest did put in a decel right-hand turn lane with their development that has alleviated or will alleviate quite a bit of their traffic congestion there. And there is a center turn lane along Highway 100 there. But just so I know both of those, this parcel and the adjacent parcel have both looked at connecting into Cedar Crest, and TDOT has kind of evaluated this on the front end, and we've had several conversations about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, I just have one other thing about the zoning. The properties that are to the, I think it's the north and the south, are RS40 and R20. So this doesn't sit directly in with the direct north and south properties, although I do see Cedar Crest is right there to the east. So what I'm wondering is why an 8 and not something a little bit less dense in between? What's the 8 accomplishing?
Yeah, Commissioner Roberts, we came before planning originally in RS5. We heard a lot of feedback from commissioners from the city that was too dense. The site does have a significant number of challenges on it. It's got a floodplain on the southern side. It's actually got a cemetery that we've encountered. We've gone and done further cemetery delineation studies. And I've actually found out it's a larger area than we even originally intended. We need to fully protect and honor that cemetery to keep development away from it. It condensing us to kind of the northern part of that site. The RS8 lots allow us to work with there while honoring all the feedback that we heard from planning of getting up from an RS5. we ended up here because of the feedback we heard from planning.
Thanks so much. And then, Mr. Greer, since we don't have our fire chief here tonight, how does he feel? I mean, has he given you any recommendations? Have you discussed this with him? Is he comfortable with the ingress and egress from this development?
He would be comfortable with ingress and egress if it's ultimately off of a single point access. The units would have to be sprinkled because there are more than 30 units off of a single point access. Cedar Crest is fully sprinkled, and so the fire chief feels that this project could be made in compliance with our regulations.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering my questions, Mr. O'Brien.
Of course.
Mayor. Appreciate you coming tonight. I guess I'm on the other side of the coin on this. I think you're conceding a lot by deciding to go with the R8 zoning. You know, at the end of the day, the 2040 plan is really something that we lean on heavily when considering what to allow for rezoning on a property, and the fact that there is meat still on the bone per se with this property and what would technically be positively viewed from the Planning Commission perspective. I think it's refreshing to see a developer come in and not take the most dense option that you have available. At the end of the day, it's still in the center of town, so single-family homes that close, I think, is great. Not being another townhome development or multifamily development, and then, you know, moving back towards the larger developments behind it, I think it's an appropriate transition size. I know it has its challenges. We've talked briefly about it. The cemetery is an interesting factor. We'll see how that plays out, but at the end of the day, I do appreciate your effort to take the zoning that you are choosing to take.
Appreciate that, Vice Mayor McDonald. We did come in with well over 60 homes, and I believe where we've landed is a better overall site plan, taking in all the feedback received.
Mr. O'Brien, you've always been one to reach out to the community to get their feedback, and I as well appreciate you going from a 5 to an 8. I feel like we're a little townhome heavy right now, so these being single-family homes and a variety of different options for young people to move into. These are, going to be something that would work for, young families, teachers, police, fire, just different people, different product, different price point. So I'm excited about that. Also, the walkability to our new city center is going to be great with our sidewalks and the new traffic light there. I do like the connection with Cedar Crest so that it's an ease of in and out that is in at an already established entrance into a property. So I feel like you've done a great job with this neighborhood.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye. Item 10A passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Item 10B, second and final reading, ordinance 2025-18, rezoning Old Cox Pike. I will now open the public hearing.
Hello, my name is Colleen Van Vossen. I live at 7801 Pinecrest Court here in Fairview. And I have some concerns about this request for rezoning. Whether we choose or whether the board chooses R20 or R40. If the board chooses R20, This is not the only option. It doesn't have to be rezoned. But if you choose to rezone this to R20, that would allow 2 homes, 1 to 2 homes per half-acre lot. There would be 53 acres. That means there would be approximately 106 lots, and possibly 2 houses per lot means 212 homes could be put in this particular development. That's what the zoning would allow. And whether the current developer has indicated, oh, that's not what I plan to do, or not, once you've zoned it as that, if Mr. Cunningham decides that he doesn't want to own this property or he doesn't go forward with it, he could sell this to someone else, and the property would be zoned as you decide tonight, and they could legally place that number of residences on this property. And I think that considering that this is the last subdivision in the city limits going into the rural county, that it would be a good transition to allow this to remain R40 and have less density on this, and also considering the contingency of the property possibly changing hands. You don't know what tomorrow holds. Maybe Mr. Cunningham might decide he needs to divest himself of this property and sell it to someone else. And then it's zoned the way that it's zoned. And if I'm correct, there's no sunset on your zoning. Is that correct, that there's no sunset on what zoning is labeled on a particular parcel? So the zoning stays with the parcel as it is, even if it changes owners. And I think that's a contingency that we should not risk. And also something else to consider, I believe you're all aware that there's a stormwater problem, stormwater issues in Fairview in all different areas. And what's now on this property, it's woodland. It's rolling, it's not flat, it's rolling. There's 2 ravines that run east-west and north-south in this property. And so when you take all of that coverage out, you take out all of that trees and everything that you need to put in homes, to put in the roads and everything, that soil is not going to absorb stormwater. It's going to run off. So we're creating the potential for another problem of stormwater runoff that the city does not currently have infrastructure or the resources to address, because the problems are going on all around town. And so I would just ask that because there's not currently a viable solution to address all of the stormwater issues in the city, that you maintain the current zoning of R40 that allows for a little bit less density for this last piece of property before you leave town, so that it would be there. So that's what I'm asking, is that you maintain the R40 zoning, not to increase the density. Just because you can increase density doesn't mean you should. So, and just because Pinecrest as it exists is a 1/2 acre lot zoning does not mean that the next needs to be the same, saying that, oh, well, it'll be just like what you have now. Well, no, it doesn't. We don't need to do that. We're not married to grids, grid zone or grid lots in this area. So I would ask that you please maintain the R40 zoning to have a somewhat decreased density, as this is going to adjoin farmland. And the next neighbor is a farmer and has cows on his pastures. That would be next to this. And so those are my requests, and I do appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
Tom Boone, 7813 Pinecrest Court. I, like Colleen, urge you to stick with the original R40 approval. I read this as a blatant and appalling bait and switch. Come to the show, sing an R40, lovely, grand plan for this wooded area, beautiful hardwoods, one of the last wooded areas in our community. Everything else is just converted pastures, sun-baked estates, waiting 20 or 30 years for a good tree. The developer may not see it like that. He may just see how many boxes can he build, how much tax revenue can he generate for the city. There's a great opportunity to maintain a pastoral beauty, develop this out as nice 1 acre estates, and hold on to some of the upper end that we want to see. We've got enough townhomes, we've got enough 1 and 2 address properties, and we know that development is inevitable. If I'd have had the money, I'd have bought that land. I don't. Builders build, they salivate at every bare piece of ground in Williamson County, and yeah, it's good for tax revenue, but at some point we got to throw the brakes on, pump the brakes at least, and let's stick to what they came in originally. I implore you, stick with R40. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will close the public hearing. Ordinance 2025-18, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning the entirety of 3 parcels totaling 53.162 acres located south of Old Cox Pike and west of Pinecrest Court, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 043, parcel 015, 052, 053, from RS40, single-family residential, to R20, 1 and 2 family residential, property owner Marlon Cunningham. Mr. Greer.
This comes to you tonight with a negative recommendation from the Planning Commission. It did have a positive recommendation from staff. This property is listed in the 2040 plan as a new residential medium neighborhood. Has appropriate zoning of RS40 or R20 with a PUD. The appropriate land uses are single-family detached residential. The intent that was described from the developer when they submitted this application for annexation was to annex this property and rezone it R20. So for any properties that come in with an annexation request, they're annexed if the board so chooses, and they're initially zoned RS40. The owner of that property can submit at the same time as annexation a subsequent request to rezone that property. Based on our conversations with our legal counsel, last month you annexed this property in. Tonight you are hearing the rezoning request. We've ran those as subsequent requests so that you have an opportunity to evaluate both items. So just so everybody's on the same page, the request came in as one request to annex the property and rezone it to R20. An annexation comes in, automatically RS40. Now we're here to address the R20 rezoning. Staff believes that it does meet the 2040 plan. Looking at our future and long-range planning, it's well within our urban growth boundary. It's nowhere near the edge of our urban growth boundary. This property does sit adjacent to several properties that are significantly more dense than R20. We have several PUDs that are in the same area of town that have much smaller lots than half-acre lots. It does meet the 2040 for land use, development character, appropriate zoning. And so staff has a strong recommendation of, to approve this item. Obviously, the Planning Commission did not agree with that, and they did forward it to you with a negative recommendation for approval. There is a representative here tonight to answer any questions you may have.
Will the representative please come forward?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good evening, I'm Todd Olson with Anderson Delketz. Marlon Cunningham, 2020 Garfield Street, Nashville, Tennessee, 37221.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Greer, what were the reasons the Planning Commission gave a negative recommendation for this?
One of the reasons that they gave a negative recommendation, there's a 4-acre parcel that is on the northwestern corner of this property that is zoned in the 2040 comprehensive plan, the future use plan, to be rural settlement. And there were a few members that felt that this property did not meet the 2040 plan due to that 4-acre piece out of the entire 53.162 acres, that 4 acres was zoned or was projected to be rural settlement, which has a RS 40 or R20 with a conservation development as the appropriate zonings. There were also some concerns about the proximity to being located next to Williamson County unincorporated properties. As far as our planning staff is concerned, in looking at our urban growth boundary, we are charged as a city to push the density inside the municipality and maintain the rural character of Williamson County by having the densities within the municipality. And so having this property now annexed in, our staff believes that it meets all of the requirements that we have laid out in our 2040 comprehensive plan. The developer could submit a development plan that is in accordance with our documents on this property. And our staff, again, is in favor of this rezoning.
I'd like to go back to where you started with the 4 acres, please, and the conservation easement. I'm just a little confused. And bear with me, I'm going to try to make this as clear as possible. But if it has a conservation easement on a portion of the property, it does not have one.
It does not have a conservation easement. That 4 acres in our 2040 comprehensive plan is designated as rural settlement, which has appropriate zonings of RS 40 or R20 with a conservation development.
Okay.
A conservation development is just a type of subdivision that we offer, which allows for 50%. So for that 4 acres, 50% of that land would have to be reserved.
And will it do, I mean, is
That
that part of what we'd be voting on?
Not necessarily. If it's zoned R20 tonight, it could be used for however the developer sees fit, as long as they meet the R20 regulations.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for explaining that. I guess I misunderstood, but that seemed to hang them up in the Planning Commission for a little bit.
It
so I
hung
wanted
them
to-
up very good in the Planning Commission.
Yeah, so I wanted to, to pull that out a little bit, but I appreciate that a lot. My next question is another thing you said, where you mentioned that there are several other high-density properties within this same area, which, if anyone's listened to previous conversations, then it leads into a little bit more of what I was saying before in our other conversations of just saying, I think this really should stay RS40 because of the fact that it is right now on the leading edge and there is an existing farm, and I do think that matters, and I understand it's in the urban growth boundary, and I understand the rationale for wanting to go ahead and go to R20, but if you look at this picture, there's an R20 right next to it, which is the Pinecrest subdivision. But then there's RS40 across Dice Lampley. Bowie Park is on the other side of that property. There's a big house being built on an open field on Dice Lampley right next to that little piece that sticks out on the bottom there. So this property is currently surrounded on other sides by a working farm and a single-family home. And so it might fit with the higher density as you go closer into the city center, heading south on Cox Pike. But the further north, I guess you go on Cox Pike, I think that's the right direction, but, you know, out towards the county, it's less dense. And so this flows in line with going out of the county rather than in. And with several other developments coming along the way, we know that there are at least 2 coming up right now in that Cox Pike area, or 1.
There are several that are coming along Cox Pike, yes.
Several coming along Cox Pike. And we still have all of the developments happening on Northwest Highway. We still don't have an intersection at 96. We don't have improvements on Dice Lampley, which is hills go up and down. I know that we're growing, and I ran on this a year ago. This time last year, I was running for election, and I was elected. And what I said at the time, and I still say, and this is what we were just talking about in our planning meeting, we have a lot of opportunity to plan our city. We are working on our zoning ordinances. We are looking at a major thoroughfare plan. We are thinking about where we want to put residential, commercial, agricultural, farm, green spaces. And if we're always annexing in properties and rezoning, and we're not looking at the bigger picture, we need to take this and zoom out, in my opinion, when we as a board are considering what we're doing with these properties and thinking about the realities of the roadways and the realities of the traffic and the realities of the infrastructure that we have. I think this is a great opportunity to develop out our urban growth boundary on that side of the city. I just voted yes for another property that's in the city, and I did like the walkability factor of it. And I like that it's part of that city center, but this is really outside. And it's already surrounded by what feel to be pretty permanent properties. So some of the things I don't want to see happen is that farm that's downhill slope from this property being affected by development. I don't want to see that happen. And I feel like I can be encouraging tonight to the rest of the board to think about that and to think about the people building a single family home right next to this and to think about the road. If you haven't driven down Dice Lampley in this area, then please do, and consider what it'll mean to have 75 houses with potentially 2 cars per house pulling out onto Dice Lampley or that space on Cox Pike. There are a lot of realities to this, and I'm not against any humans, and I'm not against the idea of us making developments, but I said a year ago, I say now, I would like us to pause and to think about what we're doing as more of a comprehensive plan. And that's just the time and space. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in a couple years, I would think differently about it. But today, I think that something like this should still remain less dense.
Mayor?
Yes. Vice Mayor McDonald.
Thank you. Mr. Greer, if the applicant was to exercise the option to put duplexes on an R20 zoning, would that require a PUD?
That would require a PUD to have duplexes within R20.
So, for all intents and purposes, we're talking one house per half acre with this
Correct.
request. Just want to clear the air on that. It's not going to double. That would require additional approvals if that was the case, and I would be, for the record, against duplexes that far outside of the center of town. The 2040 plan is our future guide to plan effectively, right? And it did take into consideration what our urban growth boundary at the time showed. Since then, it's changed a little bit. For more or less, it's the same. There will be a day where Fairview proper reaches all the way to the border of Williamson County. When that day comes, I'm not sure, but it will happen. I think it's no offense to anybody that is opposed to this, but I think it's a lack of vision to the future to, I mean, with that mindset, we would be strictly R40 from this location all the way out, regardless of what direction our city expands. That would be it, if we're always based on the edge of the city. The edge of the city is relevant to the time. It won't be the edge of the city forever. I can guarantee that. So that's just my perspective on that piece. I do understand there's concerns, however, with traffic and with everything else. A couple of points, and I would like the applicant to speak to this. You've spoken about it at the Planning Commission, and I believe you spoke about it with this board the last time you were in front of us. Just the improvements that'll be coming to the wastewater treatment and the water and everything in the area based on the development that this is.
Currently, they're having issues in the pumps burning up in Pinecrest subdivision. And this should be taking care of the problem that I'm gonna be putting in a larger station for relieving Pinecrest subdivision into this pump station that I'm putting in, going over to the main line that was put in years ago. It's going to be, the head pressure is what they're having a problem with the pumps. It's pumping basically 1.5 miles or so down the road to Hall Road, I believe it is, and they're having issues with them burning up. They don't have a long lifetime.
So this is an opportunity, basically in layman's terms, to those of us that aren't developers, this is an opportunity for the city of Fairview to increase the functionality of our infrastructure when it comes to sewer without having to spend taxpayer monies to do so, because that'll be on you to foot that bill. Regarding traffic, we have infrastructure improvements coming to Highway 96. We have infrastructure improvements coming to 100. This is raw land at rezoning. You don't have a development plan or anything like that in place yet. You're still going to have to come in front of boards and get approvals for that. Before the first road is put in on this property, it's going to be a while. The project on 100 is already underway, and the project on 96 in the northwest, that'll be here in the near future. I would imagine that it would still probably get done before this development is finished. I also understand that there's a significant portion of this property that's just not buildable, that some of the woods that's on this property is going to be retained. It's not going to be clear cut from border to border of this property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I had another point I was wanting to make, and I can't recall what it was.
And I think I had mentioned before at the last meeting, looking at 75 lots or so is what I'm looking at, not 100 and something lots is what, I'm not looking at anything like that.
That's a good point, too. Not to make your argument for you, but I think just in any property that we're considering rezoning for, if you take the full acreage of it and simply do simple math on how many homes could fit on it, that's assuming there's no roads, there's no easements, there's no obstructions or difficult. That's assuming you've got a blank slate and everyone's just going to drive across everyone's yard to get to their home, and you're just going to max it out. At the end of the day, you got to put infrastructure in. You got to put roads. So that's going to take up property. That's going to restrict the amount of houses that can be built on it. And the other thing, and maybe he is, maybe he's not, or she. It happened at the Planning Commission meeting. It's happened in this meeting a couple times. This individual that lives adjacent to this property with this farm, I haven't received an email. I haven't received a phone call, text message. We've had multiple public hearings on this item now. That individual has yet to come up here and voice their concerns. So I guess in my mind, I'm just curious if this is if this is a chip that people use to create whatever narrative they're trying to create, because the individual that owns that property hasn't taken the time or effort to come and express his concern with it, which makes me think that he or she isn't all that concerned about it. So I could be wrong on that, but I believe there's been ample amount of time for that concern to be expressed, and it has yet to be. So that is all I have.
Mayor. Mr. Cunningham, if you were not to get this and you would decide to build 40,000 square foot lots, what would become of the sewer system? Would you possibly go to an on-site system and be faced up on Cox Pike like the one down the road is faced on?
It wouldn't work on 40,000 square foot lots for the price I'm giving for the property. It wouldn't work.
Okay.
And you're, like you're saying, if I have to put the sewer system out, you know, it's going to take, it'd take more land, and I'd want to ask for smaller lots. And I actually think that's what the Planning Commission was trying to, that's what I was understanding them. They was asking me basically, if I'm saying it right, I think they were saying, why don't you ask for smaller lots? And that's not what I wanted to ask for. 20,000 square foot lots is what I was looking for.
And heard what Vice Mayor said about keeping some of the trees that are there, and you also, at the last meeting, you agreed to put in kind of a berm type thing around the Pinecrest subdivision with year-round greenery.
Put in some greenery, yes, sir.
But with the Pinecrest sewer system failing, I think it's awful good that we can take advantage of this situation here to take care of the sewer system. And I'm one that's been totally against the on-site system for a number of years. I still think the conventional system is the best way to approach everything. I actually do live in a subdivision that has that same thing. The Water Authority's been out to my home 5 times in the last 6 months because of the on-site system is not working properly. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint, and I hope everybody realizes that the sewer system is a major issue as far as I'm concerned, and with you taking care of Pinecrest, which is a system that apparently is failing from time to time, hopefully that won't happen. And I do know what it's like to see a home flooded with raw sewage. It's not a good thing. I really do. So that's my viewpoint. Thank you.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you. I've got some responses, Vice Mayor, and I always appreciate our conversations. We seem to come at things from different directions, so hopefully this will also help clear some of the air because I've got some responses. So with the urban growth boundary, it's not a call to become urban. So it doesn't mean that it only has to be R40 from that point out to the urban growth boundary. We do have other types of zoning in our codes, don't we, Mr. Greer? It doesn't have to be R40, R20, R8, R15. It could be something that's like a rural settlement or something that's less dense.
The less dense than RS40 would be RS120, AR5, or AR15.
So it could remain agricultural. It doesn't necessarily have to develop. So it's kind of like making a conclusion on something that isn't necessarily going to happen. It could happen, but it doesn't have to happen. And again, it's not like we have to develop this entire area. We talk about a commitment to our rural history, and yet when we talk about preserving some of the rural areas, we always point to why we should just develop everything in the urban growth boundary. And the urban growth boundary did change since the 2040 plan. And it's likely to change again. And maybe that's out of necessity, and maybe it's because we're not being true to our rural history. My second point is just Hall Road, this Hall Road sewage treatment right now that they're using for Pinecrest. Where is this located? Is it like that? Is it Hall Road right there at that? Just next to like Donald Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah, that's way less than a mile away from, it's not a mile and a half, it's
When you go to the pump station, it's at the end of Hall Road, though.
at the end of Hall Road, okay. All right, that was confusing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you clearing that up. I just wasn't sure about that. And all of these other developments that exist between this proposed development and that station, are they doing anything to help with the pump stations, or was that ever a conversation?
The two developments that are currently ongoing between this development and that pump station both utilize on-site sewer systems.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that there will be no clear cutting. I really do appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear it. I want to respond also to the idea that there's nobody raising concerns. I'm sorry, that the farmer has not raised a concern, and it doesn't mean that there isn't a concern. I've never heard anybody raise a concern about the pumps in Pinecrest. It doesn't mean that they're not. But I haven't heard it. It doesn't mean that it's not a concern. And this farmer might be, pardon me, busy farming. He could be in hay, he could be in his cows, he could be busy doing other things and not know. And I really want to push back against the idea that somebody has to be in here telling us that the damage has happened in order for us to do something about it. I think that Fairview can do better than that. And so I want to do better than that.
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
Thank you. Some of the things that I do appreciate what you're going to be doing is a lot of our residents are screaming for more affordable housing. There are locations going up right now that are on 1 acre lots that are $1 million plus. I think something that you're trying to do is go on half acre lots, making it more affordable for younger folk to move in. People like my children or whatever, if they decide to live here in Fairview. I appreciate what you're going to be doing with the water pump situation. That's huge in Fairview because Lord knows we have a lot of water issues here in Fairview. A couple of questions I do have is, when is this going to be a phased process?
Talking about developing the subdivision in 2 phases is what I'm probably looking at doing.
Okay.
Splitting it in halves.
Okay. And when do you anticipate completion of at least phase 1 and phase 2?
I would hope the infrastructure, I'm hoping, would be in within 2 years of phase 1 and 2 both. The houses being built, I'm not sure on that. It just depends on what the economy will stand at the time.
So just your part of the land development would be at least 2 years
Yes, sir.
plus. So you're talking if a builder comes in and starts building on that as well, you're talking an additional probably 2 years. So you're looking at 4, maybe 5 years from now for completion.
It'll take a while.
Right.
It'll take a while to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Roberts?
Nay.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye. Item 10B passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10C, Resolution 52-25, Annexation, Fairview Boulevard. I will now open the public hearing.
My name is Garen Post. I live at 7889 Pinewood Road in Fairview, which is not in the city yet presently. I'm here because approximately mid-2022, this same proposal came before and I sat here all night and it was pulled from the meeting. So 3.5 years later, we're back to the same thing. The only difference is I can't remember whether it was being proposed to annex at R40. If you go look on your program, you're asking to annex R40, but 2 behind me is going to be to change the zoning to R10. So you're going to go from 40,000 square feet per house to 10,000 square feet per house or manufactured home. Not being a builder, but I understand roads and I understand the power line that runs through this property. Now, depending on the voltage of the power line, the state of Tennessee says 75 to 200 feet from this power line. So they're going to lose some of this property that they may want to develop into housing because of power lines. But they also have some water issues there with a big creek that flows there. And I don't quite understand why they want to annex into the city at R40 today, and an hour from now, I want you to change it to R10. And I think density of 10,000 per house is extremely large. It's going to turn out maybe for about 70 to 78 acres. And if that's 4 houses per acres in an area that is all rural, and I don't see any need for this one to become urban, and the city only went to the Hickman County line within the last few years. So I just don't see the need for that out there. That is still rural, and all the people there that I spoke with who got this same letter, they all feel the same way. If you go down Pinewood Road, I live on the backside of where this housing development's gonna be. And there's about 10 of us there, and then you gotta go a few miles to the church. And it's all farmland out there, and I don't see any need for this kind of development in this part of the city. I'm not in the city, but I'm in Fairview, and I don't see a need for this at all. Thank you.
My name's James Sullivan. I live at 7921 Pinewood Road, adjacent to this property. And I heard the vice mayor saying something about, not hearing comments of being concerned. Like me, I didn't know the channel to go through to speak to somebody. I just got this notice 2 weeks ago, and I was trying to find out who to talk to. I actually addressed a day or two ago Marcy about talking to somebody, and nobody responded. I called 2 or 3 times checking on this. As far as the land, it's a rural place. I farm adjacent to it, which is, the watershed's gonna be devastating on me more than anybody else, because it's like a bowl coming down in on me. There's 3 hollers that come together there. And when you put this many houses in that place, the roofs, the concrete, the pavement, there's nowhere it can go but down on me. And that's the reason I'm highly concerned about the amount of houses you're putting on this area. As far as the development, I'm not against development. It's just the amount of houses because it's got natural watershed now that runs off and the ground soaks it up. The farmers had it terraced, it spreads out. But when you do this, it's all gonna force to a couple of places. And that's directly down on me. I mean, I farm for a living. All this area right out in there is farm area. I mean, this property actually belonged to my great-grandfather years ago. It wound up with the Walkers because of swap. But, I mean, it's a family farm. The reason I got such high concern is because it is in a rural area. There's several houses around it, but they all, on 3 sides of it, it's all farmland. And I just, would like for reconsider about the amount of houses you putting on this area. And because it's going to create a watershed problem. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I work for a forestry department where I work at a sawmill, and we go out and we have to look at these things. And this right here is going to be a problem on me more so than anybody else right there. And I just wish you'd reconsider the amount of houses you plan on putting on this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can we, if you don't mind, Mr. Hall needed to use the restroom. Do you mind waiting so he can hear your
sure.
comments as well?
Yep.
Mayor, is that okay?
That's fine. I was gonna, if we got to our, yes.
Yeah.
We'll pause until Commissioner Hall returns.
Okay.
All right, if you'll just state your name and address and if you're in the city or county. Thank you.
We're the Zoc family. We live at 7329 Sullivan Road, and which is out in the county. Which, excuse me, our property is directly across Pinewood Road from the Walker property. And we'd like to express our concerns on this proposed annex of the property. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Pinewood Road, you know what the beauty provides with the serenity of the countryside. Folks live there to escape the noise and the congestion of the city. If you haven't driven Pinewood, we suggest that you do, and we feel it's an extension of Leapers Fork. We have multiple concerns regarding this property being annexed into the city of Fairview. So we ask for the Board of Commissioners to carefully consider giving equal weight to the equality of life out there. Neither Pinewood Road nor Highway 100 can accommodate all the cars and the buildings of the high-density development that would be created. Creating any ingress or egress from a proposed development of Pinewood Road would create a traffic pattern I think that the roads could not accommodate. In addition, the intersection between Pinewood and Highway 100 has become very congested lately with all the people moving further out and coming through Fairview to go to work. This has been an area for several accidents lately, and it is being patrolled by the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. About the impact on the environment, just as Mr. Sullivan stated, it would impact his property. We're thinking about the runoff, sewage, drainage, and what would be the potential for Big Turnbull Creek, which is at the bottom end of this property. So if we can't control the runoff, what is that going to look like? And we want to know if the Board of Commissioners have considered the effect of the runoff on the proposed development of this property. And also the groundwater, the aquifers, because most of the properties out there are on well systems, and that's how we receive our water. Majority of the Fairview people that we've talked to, they're a little displeased about the of what's going on in the development of Fairview. I know that, as they stated earlier, the newest board members ran on that, putting a halt or a slowdown on the development of Fairview. We're not against growth. You can't stop it. But I think we're at a time where we could just pause and take a look at things. We also want to consider the burden that would be placed on the city services for battling the traffic to get out there, for service personnel such as police, fire, to this annexed property. For those reasons, we just ask that you reject this annexation request and the ordinances. Again, as we state, we're not opposed to development, but I think we feel that if we stick to the Williamson County, 1 home per 5 acres, that's feasible. I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you.
Thank you.
Before you step away, can we get your address and last name one more time?
Yes.
Sorry.
Zach, Z-A-C-H, 7329 Sullivan Road.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Good evening. My name is Ricardo Quant, and I live at 7946 Pinewood Road. And for the same reasons that just this wonderful fellow just explained to you guys, I also want to express my concerns. My number one concern will be my well system and what this new development will do for my drinking of water. And I guess my other concern is, if this plan was rejected once, what makes it available to be annexed this time around? What's the difference between now and 3 years? 3 years ago when this proposal was rejected. So, thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will close the public hearing.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion for approval?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, read it.
Yeah, let me just read the resolution first. Okay. A resolution to annex certain territory upon written consent of the owner and to incorporate the same within the boundaries of the city of Fairview, Tennessee, with RS 40, single-family residential zoning, map 070, parcel 005.01, Fairview Boulevard, 111.66 acres, owner Carl Walker. Mr. Greer?
This annexation comes with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission to annex. It also has a positive recommendation from staff. Again, it did come in as a request to annex and be zoned RS10. Tonight, you have the second and final read of the annexation, along with the first reading of the zoning under our new business items. And so the annexation would bring this property in at RS40. The requester did request to be zoned RS10. We will address the zoning of that under the new business item 11A. There is an applicant tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, will the applicant come forward, and now Commissioner Buffalini?
Mayor, motion for approval?
Point point of clarification. Are you saying motion for removal? Or
Approval?
Approval. Okay.
Approval.
Second.
Okay, now, any questions from the board of the representative?
Rob Moulton, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, for any questions you may have.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. I know that we are talking about the annexation right now, but it's in tandem with a rezoning, and I feel like these are impossible to uncouple, especially with a lot of, you've been listening tonight and you've been listening to other meetings, and you know that these are big issues here in Fairview. I have some concerns about this specific property being annexed in, and I'll lead off. I'll keep beating the same drum and saying we have plans that we are considering. This is a currently totally basically undeveloped area of the city. We don't really know as a board, we haven't really contemplated what we want to do with this area. Again, we have lots of conversations coming up where we might think about potential uses for this, and to annex in a large parcel of land, 111 acres at the edge of our city, close to the 840 ramp, at a already problematic intersection. If anybody's ever tried to cross Highway 100 there, good luck. It's a real challenge, and it's not funny because it's pretty scary. So whatever would be happening in this additional annexation and development would kind of be a challenge. So until we know what the rest of this area would look like, I again appeal to the board to stop and think about pausing on annexation and development, especially in a place that is not developed. We can talk all night long about what's happening on Boone Street. We can make correlations with what's happening over on Cox Pike and other highly developed areas. This one is completely undeveloped, and going from what it is now, which is farmland, to an R10 in this area is not something we have to do. And we don't have to do this. This is a balance between property rights and zoning, and then also building our city. And again, I'm not against development. I'm not against building and growth, but I have so few opportunities to speak with this board. And so I want to take the opportunity to say again, we don't have to say yes right now. We can stop and think about what we want to do with this area of our city, because we really don't have a plan for it now, because all of the plans we have are outdated.
Mayor, if I may.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Commissioner Roberts, I am not going to volleyball back at you. I do have a couple comments I would like to make, though. First off, I just want to address a few comments that were made during the public hearing portion. Couple things that were said just made me think of a few things. So I know we're always talking growth in this meeting. That's what we're always doing. You don't shrink, you always grow. If you're shrinking, you've got bigger problems. That being said, are we growing? Yes, and I know this ruffles feathers and people don't want to hear it, but if you look at every other municipality in the county, we are growing at the slowest rate of all of them. That's debatable. So the way funding works for municipalities from a county's perspective, the way grants and different opportunities from the state and the federal government are viewed, it all has to do with what designation the city carries and so on and so forth, growth rates, yada, yada. The GNRC, we talk about that group quite a bit out of Nashville. They recently, I believe they downgraded us back to rural, or removed us off of the list that was going to move to a more urban designation due to the rate in which we are growing. Yes, we're growing, but once again, it's at a slower rate than every municipality in the county, which has impact on tax distribution and other ways the municipality makes money off of the county and the state. Again, I'm not trying to be argumentative. I just wanted to make that point clear that yes, we're growing, but we're nowhere near the fastest growing community in the county or the area. From a traffic perspective, I understand that there's going to be there's always going to be issues, but you have 840 there, which is a huge opportunity to divert traffic. If you're going to Nashville, you're not going to go through Fairview. You're going to take 840 to 40, and you're going to go into town. If you're going to Franklin, you're going to go most likely 840 as well. There's just a lot of opportunities to alleviate traffic that wouldn't, if this development was anywhere else, obviously it's going to impact the city more. Stormwater, to your point, sir, not disagreeing with you, and this is by no stretch trying to argue with you. I just wanted to, I guess, clarify where we are as a city on our stormwater regulations. Haven't always been this way, so I understand. We can't retroactively fit existing neighborhoods into our current regulations. However, the city of Fairview's stormwater regulations are, you'd be hard pressed to find a stricter regulation in the state of Tennessee from a municipality standpoint on how they approach stormwater. I understand that we have our stormwater issues, so people want to say that that can't be true, but I promise you it is. So first inch of stormwater has to be captured by a detention pond of some variety. Water cannot shed from that property faster than the rate that it currently exists now. There would be studies done, measurements and all of that, and that. Now, whether they follow that, that's for another body to enforce and bring penalties upon them. But that gets into hypotheticals. As far as our regulations go, those are the regulations they would have to adhere to. So, in principle, they would not be able to put any more water on your property than is already coming that way. And again, there's examples of this around the city where that's not true, but those regulations weren't in place when those neighborhoods were built. On that note, I can't think of a situation where me personally am not going to be in favor of an annexation. Now, when it comes to the rezoning of this property, I do agree with Commissioner Roberts on this, that we do have new zoning regulations coming forward. I don't know if there's a rush to rezone this property currently. If we're going to have our zoning ordinances in place by the end of November, December, even if it's January, I can't imagine that 3 months is really that impactful. At the end of the day, the development takes forever. So 3 months is a drop in the bucket from when there's actually going to be homes built on this property. So that being said, I will be in favor of the annexation. However, I will have some questions when it comes to the rezoning piece. That's all I have.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you. Just to respond to one of Vice Mayor McDonald's points, yes, we have our stormwater ordinances that were voted in 2023. We have developments that are being developed with stormwater issues onto other properties right now. These are the reasons why I keep pressing this issue every time we're up here, because it's still happening even with those regulations. And I think it's really important that we get ahead of it, not come in after the fact. I'm not against the property owners here. I don't know them. I'm not against you, sir. It's not against people. It's for everybody in Fairview. It's because before people have to ask for help, I want us to get ahead of it and make sure that we can scale it. I want us to be sure that that is what we want to do with this property. This property is not going to annex into any other city. It's going to annex into Fairview. It doesn't have to happen today. It can wait until we know what we're doing with it. We can say it can wait. We can do that. We are the body that has the power to say we're just not quite ready yet. And it's going to be okay if we do that. And then we have a plan.
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
So, a couple of years ago, there was the citizens, the body came together and they voted on a 2040 plan. And that was the vision of the area, is what is being asked to do right now, especially down on that side of town. You got 840, you have 100. Like Vice Mayor said, that it's got a lot of outlets to go to Nashville, to go to Franklin, to go to other areas. With that said, I mean, to annex that property in is one thing, and to zone it for something else later on is another conversation. But just looking at the 2040 plan that we've spent $150,000+ on, that document, like I said, it's the ideas and the visions of our city, of the residents of the city. And what we're trying to do is do more of these kind of developments outside of city center, kind of like what we were discussing earlier. And this is a grand opportunity to start doing that from outside back in.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts?
Mr. Greer, you may or may not have an answer to this question, but do you know how many approvals the Board of Commissioners has made over the past 6 years since the 2040 plan was approved that fall outside of the zoning recommendations of the 2040 plan?
I do not have that answer.
Do you know if there have been approvals that fall outside of the 2040 plan?
I know that there are approvals that have fallen outside of the 2040 plan. The 2040 plan is a guideline. It is a plan. It is not a perfect plan. It is a plan to be used as a guideline to help direct and steer the voting boards and our staff into a direction that would be agreeable with the citizens who helped make the 2040 plan.
No, I agree. And thank you for that. So would you also agree that the 2040 plan is outdated?
I would agree that there are some deficiencies within the 2040 plan based on today's current issues that we have that weren't necessarily known fully in 2019 when that plan was put together.
I think that's a yes. Is that a yes?
You could classify that as a yes.
Thank you. And I think that based on the strategic planning session that we did earlier with the Board of Commissioners, since one of our top priorities in our 1-year plan would be to revisit the 2040 plan in the context of the new zoning ordinances, I would say it's a pretty compelling argument to be made that the 2040 plan is not only outdated, but in need of revision and no longer necessarily able to guide us in the development of our city.
I guess this is a question directed at the mayor, but is that implying that the 2040 plan should no longer be considered?
I'm not implying that the 2040 plan shouldn't be considered any longer, but if when I say let's rely on the 2040 plan or let's think about the rural development, the argument is always made to me, well, it's just a guiding document. But then when I say, well, people want this to be rural, we say, well, the 2040 plan says this can be a more urban area, or this can have a higher density to it. And I think that we rely on the 2040 plan when we want to, and we lean into it, ignoring the fact that we have already made decisions as a board, and not necessarily this version of the board, but the BOC has made decisions that fall outside of the 2040 plan. So I just say that raising it as something we lean into is something that we've acknowledged as a board is not always going to work, and I think we need to revisit it. So my whole point is, yeah, maybe we don't rely on it so much, we don't annex anything in until we've had an opportunity to finish our zoning ordinances and start to revisit this and think about what we're doing. We again, we don't have to do this. We can wait.
Myself and 16 other people including our city attorney and our city planner, worked extremely hard on our urban growth boundary. We will not come to anyone without them asking us to annex your property. But if someone asks to be annexed into the city of Fairview and they are in our urban growth boundary, I'm in favor of them coming into our community. We worked very hard on that plan, and I just, if someone wants to annex in, we don't force annex, but if someone wants to annex in, I feel like Fairview should welcome them.
May I again, I just want to respond to that. I'm not being unwelcoming. This isn't about whether or not I think that they're part of our community. They may go to church with me. People that are not part of the city technically are still in the very close surrounding areas and still are part of our community. So, I mean, with all due respect, I understand why annexing in the urban growth boundary makes a lot of sense. I also understand why pausing and waiting a little bit until we have a plan makes a lot of sense. And this isn't about not welcoming people into our community. Come on, everybody, come in and come talk to us and tell us what you think. Everyone is welcome here. But it's about whether or not this is part of a plan. That's different than whether we welcome them into our community. We have a very good opportunity right now to have a solid plan. And we have not really thought about this intersection. As a matter of fact, the last time I ever heard anybody mention it before this annexation, we were talking about trying to put a big, and this was not something that was set with any developer or anything, but a medical facility here. This was contemplated to be commercial. So I don't think we have an idea of what we want to do with this yet. And if we annex this in, and based on history, again, Mr. Greer, how many rezoning requests are denied by the Board of Commissioners? Do you have that number?
I do not have that number, but there have been
There
several.
have been.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to ask for you to take a guess on what the ratio is on have and have not, but since I've been up here, I can't think off the top of my head, except for maybe one. And so if we're going to annex this in, and then there's a rezoning, the reason I'm arguing the annexation is because the rezoning, to me, feels like it's going to just happen, because that's how it feels based off of the conversations we have. So yes, I agree, annexation would be great, except then it leads to rezoning.
Can you speak to the challenges? Because I've already spoke to medical people and commercial, but I'd like for you to speak to the board about the challenges on the front side going along 100 that we've spoken about before, where commercial and healthcare are probably not an option for this property.
You're correct, Mayor. And when I was here last month in the first reading of this, I did bring up a number of factors on this property that does make it, not conducive to medical or commercial type of uses on it. One, of course, is the deadfall branch running along Highway 100. Of course, we will not be able to disturb that. It is also very topographically challenging from Highway 100 down to the bottom of that creek on that side. So in the plan that would be coming forward, if this was to be annexed and rezoned as according to the application for residential, that whole corridor along Highway 100 would still remain covered in trees and undisturbed. The same thing would happen more or less with a medical or a commercial type facility that would go there, because you would not have visibility of commercial frontage to Highway 100 because of that stream bank running along that frontage. So that's one preclusive issue with that piece of property. The other one, of course, is the TVA easement that bisects this property at an angle. That would also take away developable land for commercial uses and or medical uses on the property, just like it would for us when it comes to lot densities and lot yields on the property on this. We do have a number of encumbrances from topographic challenges. We also talked about deadfall branch, the TVA. You also have utility issues in regards to water and sewer issues that are not available at the property at this time that would be needed for a commercial type of use. I mean, commercial is going to be stuff that could be anywhere from restaurants to offices and that such. But the restaurant portion of this, a commercial element, that would be relative, what you would see in this kind of proximity to an interstate interchange, there's no sewer. And you do not have anything from Dixon County Water Authority at this point in time that has a plan to bring sewer to this location that would be able to facilitate medical or commercial type of opportunities, or even retail opportunities on that side. So when looking at this property from the standpoint of what the land use plan is asking for versus what the application has been made on this, that the land use, because of the lack of utilities, the encumbrances on the property, is more suited for residential opportunities. And as Vice Mayor has stated, we are close to the interstate. This does promote a very easy opportunity for citizens that either live here in town, that work in town, or they're living and working in other places around here, can easily get on the interstate. You're also on Highway 100. Pinewood is also a state roadway as well. So, you have two state roadways that this property is bordered by for easy access to move residents from these potential homes on this property if it was annexed and rezoned, as we've made the application on that side. But it's definitely not in accordance with what a commercial developer or a medical facility developer would want to have from the standpoint of visibility, but also the lack of having any sewer and or water opportunities at this point in time. So,
Thank you. How would water get here for a residential facility?
we're working with Dixon County Water Authority right now on bringing a water line to the site on that side. So that would be one opportunity. It is a pretty decent endeavor that'd be taken care of, but we are working currently with Michael Rogers and Dixon County Water Authority on figuring out a solution to get water here. Again, water from the standpoint of residential will be a lot lower use and capacities and flows than a medical or commercial or a restaurant type of facility would be. So the upgrade for this line that we're working on with Dixon County is more or less predicated on the idea of this area being developed more residentially than commercially because of those other issues.
Since you've gone into such great detail about this, I feel like it's probably okay that I ask you that if, say, instead of you asking for this to be residential, we were talking to a big medical provider and they wanted to put something there and they were going to pay for the water line to come in. Could they do that with Dixon Water Authority?
Anybody can do anything if they have the dollars and cents to do it, but the problem is you don't have the sewer to facilitate a medical facility or a retail or commercial facility that would have to be brought to the property on that side. So it's a double kind of thing. Whereas this development, if it was to come forward as a residential development, we would be using on-site step system. So we've already got those soils evaluated in regards to where we could actually run that step system. So we would not need to run an off-site sewer line that Dixon County Water Authority does not have planned at this point in time for this area.
All right, but if the hypothetical that I gave, if they wanted to pay for it and do it in partnership with the Water Authority of Dixon County, then they could do it, right?
Anyone could, yes.
They could, and that would probably then dictate what gets built around the rest of it based on the type of sewer and water system that they run into the area, then being the first in that space to run that water through, right, from WADC.
Anything's possible when it comes to dollars and cents, and that's really what
Yeah.
it boils down to. This
So-
developer that's looking at doing this residentially has already made that commitment to working with Dixon County Water Authority to look at that opportunity to bring that water line here. And whether that's in his own expense 100% or he's working in a 50-50 conjunction or some kind of percentile, that's really what they have got to finish working out in regards to that contract.
That's really something that's quite a commitment. But it also sounds like it would predicate then what the rest of the development would look like over there. It would make it residential. Would other residential properties be able to tap into that sewer line?
Dixon County Water Authority would probably look at those opportunities to provide that sewer, that water line coming through wherever it's coming from in regards to this opportunity for that would provide those citizens that wherever the water line ran along for Dixon County to be able to provide water service to them so that it would be able to come off the well systems and such like that as well.
But it wouldn't ever allow us to put commercial there then?
It just depends on the size of the line you want to put there. That's really what it comes down to. But it also does depend as to what kind of water flows, pressures, and capacity that Dixon County would have for this area on that side. So again, they may have water to do what we're asking to be done right now from a residential standpoint at roughly 110 to 130 lots. But do they have enough water in that system to facilitate for a commercial restaurant or medical facility to go on that property versus 110 to 130 homes, which is a
Sure.
lot lower of a flow on a daily rate.
Right, and medical was just what I'd heard someone else say a long time ago. I mean, it could be a gas station, right? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be something that requires that much. But if what I'm understanding is that we start with residential in this area, and what we have is residential water system, then that would affect the other types of properties that can be built around it. Does that draw a?
I mean, honestly, when you think about whatever size water line and whatever capacity that Dixon can provide to this area, that really what it boils down to. So, I mean, if they don't have enough capacity for the zoning and or the land use that's entitled for this area at this point in time, then maybe the land use plan does not have the opportunity to move forward with a heavier density or heavier type of user because the facility cannot be handled from the standpoint of that utility district.
Thank you.
Point of order, Mayor. I want to see if I can get us back to the issue that's before us on this resolution, which is the annexation. And to that end, and to the applicant, do you still want to be annexed if the rezoning, if the board's not inclined to rezone it pursuant to your rezoning request, which is heard later on the docket?
Yes, we would like to be annexed.
Okay. So we're back to the annexation question, and if there's no more comment, I think we need to vote on it. And some of this discussion, hopefully we don't repeat the discussion when we get to the rezoning, because I think we've already debated that a fair amount.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 10C passes 4-1. Item 10D, Resolution 53-25, Annexation, Old Franklin Road. I will now open the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Owen Jones. I live at 105 Monticello Road in Franklin. I own property, however, adjacent to this property in question at 7372 Overby Road here in Fairview. I'm not all that concerned about the request for annexation. My concern is more in line with some of the other conversations that have gone on here today about the subsequent rezoning question. It seems that if you don't get ahead of that, then end up at a later second reading. And I just want to say that it's a small property compared to some of these others, but the density of it is similar in terms of half-acre lots compared to the 40,000 square foot near 1 acre lots. And the way that it's configured, there's this bottleneck, I'll call it, sort of panhandle access area that you would get to a rear portion of the property. So majority of the homes would have to fit on that back side. All of that is doable, I presume, with a half-acre lot, hearing some of the other conversations. But there is something that in listening to the planning meeting before I came here tonight, something that the engineering firm mentioned that I did not hear elaborated on was some drainage concerns on that property. And I mention that as a particular concern to me because I already have, from some other development on Franklin Road, drainage issues on my farm, the 15 acres I currently own. So I know how easily it can change the terrain on your property if it's not properly managed, and I would like to hear more about that. Also, I do think that just the overall growth plan here in Fairview, and if I may digress just a little bit, as a non-resident of Fairview, a property owner in the county, I don't get to vote in the city, obviously, and I don't really get to speak into community planning documents like you're talking about your 2040 plan. But I am a concerned stakeholder, and for the record, grew up here in Fairview on that farm. 5 generations of my family lived on that farm. One of my great-great-great-grandfathers is my grandfather Overby, that the road is named after. So I'm not just your average Middle Tennessee resident. I'm homegrown. I want to thank you for your time and also for your service to the community. You're doing really hard work, and you signed yourself up for a really awkward process in annexing. Maybe previous boards did this, but Mayor, you just addressed it. This request to annex and then having to make decisions about how the property is going to be developed before the developer even gets to study it puts you in an awkward position, and I appreciate that. Just want to say thank you for your service to the community.
Thank you.
(7263) Old Franklin Road, the property right next door to the property in question. Like the previous gentleman, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate the issues you guys have to deal with and the population. So thank you. And thank you for always being available to talk and discuss. A lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about has been covered, and I would just like to, so I've got notes all over the place. I did send an email this morning because I was under the impression that if I didn't get here in time to sign up early, I wouldn't be able to speak. We are opposed, but then I spoke to Ms. Roberts, and she said, no, it's a public hearing, you can be here. My husband and I, and the neighbor on the other side, although she's not here, do oppose the annexation, but I do know your opinion on it. And I do appreciate that you don't just come in and annex if people don't ask for it. That is good. So I don't hold out hope that this won't be approved for the annexation. I, like the previous gentleman, am more concerned with the property development plan and changing it from RS40 to RS20. Old Franklin Road, we are surrounded by the city, and on either side there's homes, and then of course there's Castleberry Farms. However, we are still close to the county line on the outside area. Our lot has, I don't know, a quarter or a third of it still with hardwood trees and just the natural habitat. The lot next to us still has a lot of hardwood trees. As he indicated, there's a narrow bottleneck. I don't know how that would be developed if then these neighbors are going to be looking into our backyard or what's going on with that. So if at all possible, we'd love to keep it at the 40. I understand the next section for RS20 will be voted on next month. And again, in listening to the earlier meetings, and I kind of was like a lot of what Ms. Roberts has said, Commissioner Roberts has said, and what Vice Mayor McDonald indicated a few minutes ago, that you're reviewing the zoning ordinances. And you're saying within 3 months, you're gonna have maybe new ordinances. The 2040 plan was supposed to be reviewed every 5 years. You're a year overdue that. Why can there not be a moratorium, perhaps, until at least for the zoning ordinances are reevaluated and you have a better idea of what you want to do or you're moving toward for the city? You talk about keeping the rural personality and getting grants for being in a rural area, and yet we just keep developing homes. We're developing homes before we have the structure, the infrastructure, before we have the street plan, the thoroughfare plan. sidewalks. I mean, we live so close to Fairview Elementary and the high school, kids could walk to it if there was a bike path or sidewalks. Yet we just want to continue to build more homes and just add more cars to this situation. So I guess I feel like I understand your growth plan, but if we don't have commercial buildings, if we don't have the sewer system to support commercial buildings, how do we get commercial buildings in? How does the community continue to grow because people want the facilities? And if we just become a city of housing without nice facilities, without green spaces, without sidewalks, how many people are going to want to continue to put up with the traffic and the headache? Then you have neighborhoods that nobody's living in or become rental properties because people are going to move to where the planning is a little bit more organized and set. So, again, I do appreciate all you're doing. I appreciate the problems that you deal with and the issues you have to deal with. I do have one other small bone of contention, and again, I don't think it would make any difference, but I did go in August before this was in the Planning Commission, and I was told, no, there's nothing on board for this lot. You know, we had seen the boundary markers come up, and I went to say, okay, what's going on, and do you have any information? No, we have no information, we know nothing. And then 2 days later, it was approved by the Planning Commission, so I was a little frustrated by that. Not that it would have mattered necessarily, but at least I would have had my 2 cents worth. I meant to say I'm in the county, I'm not in the city, sorry. And also, Vice Mayor McDonald, you indicated on an earlier hearing that you hadn't heard from the farmer that adjoins the property. And I have to say, I haven't been to a lot of the meetings, I've been to 3 or 4, and I have to say, it doesn't seem to matter. So maybe he's been to enough meetings, and it's like, what difference does it make? You know, like for this previous, I realize I'm probably looking at the wrong part of Pinewood Road, but I know Pinewood Road, and it's all rural, and why that's going to be, I understand annexation into the city, the property owners ask for it, but R10 or something, so 10 houses to every acre, is that what that means? What, I'm sorry, what? 4 houses per 1 acre. And again, on our road, it's this small little subdivision of however many we're talking about, if it's R20. What did you indicate if it was more than 1 house per half acre, then that would be another matter that you would reevaluate? Did you say that? Did I misunderstand that when you were asking about duplexes?
He was talking about duplexes.
Yeah, so, I mean, would it be possible for this guy to come in and put duplexes in our little section?
It would require additional approval beyond this.
Okay. Well, I disagree. I agree with the previous gentleman that it would be nice to have a site plan before we move forward with changing the zoning and those kinds of things. So, again, thank you for your service. I appreciate the time, and have a good rest of the evening. You said to welcome people into our community if they request annexation. We have tried for years to buy that property to avoid this very thing. Since we moved here in 2008, I got totally off track, I'm sorry, but we moved here in 2008, and we were in contact with Ms. Jones several times over the years, offering to purchase the property. When the Split Gerbers moved in, they joined us in making offers to purchase the property. The woman hasn't lived here. She's not part of the community. She's not being welcomed into the community. She's, you know, she has no loyalty, anything, any connection to the city or the area. And now she's going to change the personality of the area right around it. So Okay, that's it. I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will close the public hearing. A resolution to annex certain territory upon written consent to the owner and to incorporate the same within the boundaries of the city of Fairview, Tennessee, with RS 40 single-family residential zoning, map 046, parcel 054.02, Old Franklin Road, 10.07 acres, owner Deborah Jones. Mr. Greer.
This property comes to you with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission for annexation. It is located within the city of Fairview, and it is contiguous with other municipal properties. There's a representative tonight to answer any questions you may have.
Will the representative please come forward? And again, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Rob Mulchin, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm here for any questions or discussions the board may have.
Mayor?
Mr. Roberts?
Thank you. Mr. Greer, it's not listed on the map. Will you please help us with the current zoning of the surrounding contiguous properties and the properties across the street, please?
The property to the east is zoned RS 40. The property to the west, the one that's shaded with the red arrow through it, that is the one I just referenced as zoned RS 40. The other properties around it are unincorporated Williamson County, and across Old Franklin is unincorporated Williamson County. There, the southwest corner of the map that you're looking at, that darker yellow color, is
RS-15.
it's an RS-15 pod. They have 7,500 square foot lots. It is the West Hills subdivision. Across Old Franklin Road, you have Castleberry. They're zoned R20. Any other areas that you would like to denote? Most of it is RS 40, R20, or in the case of West Hill subdivision, it's a RS 15 pod.
On the same side of the road as the property that we're discussing, the properties on either side are county properties and they're single-family homes on them?
Correct.
And then the shaded yellow property that has the red arrow going through it, is that your property, Mr. Jones? Is that the one? No? Oh. Adjacent to that one, okay. Is that undeveloped right now? Is it what is that behind there? It's for sale. I see. Thank you.
You have a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any questions from the board? Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts?
Nay.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini?
Nay.
Item D passes 3-2. Thank you. Item 11, new business. 11A, ordinance 2025-20. An ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 111.66 acre parcel located south of Fairview Boulevard and west of Pinewood Road, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 070, parcel 005.01, from RS40, single-family residential, to RS10, single-family residential. Property owner, Carl Walker. Mr. Greer?
This rezoning request to RS10 comes with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission and a positive recommendation from staff. The 2040 comprehensive plan, and this is to Commissioner Roberts' point of where 2040 plan really gets a little tricky. This particular property has a future land use of retail, restaurant, office, light industrial, multifamily residential, and civic institutional. The appropriate zonings that are shown in the 2040 plan are commercial mixed use, office general, industrial restrictive, industrial general, commercial interchange, and commercial center. Based on the location and when the 2040 plan was put together, having the I-840 interchange along with Highway 100 really made this property kind of pop as a business and employment district and kind of a commercial center located close to the interstate. Today, the reality of it is that water is a concern and sewer has not extended down to this property. With that, it seems that today we're probably looking at not having a solution for sewer to this property outside of a development coming in, as Mr. Mulchin spoke about earlier. It's a matter of dollars and cents. A developer could put it in at any day. But as far as Water Authority of Dixon County extending sewer to this property, it's likely not to happen within the next 10 to 20 years. With that, the opportunity for commercial and business employment district, as stated in our 2040 comprehensive plan, is not likely to be met. Looking at the adjacent properties around this, just about every property, minus the Middle Tennessee Electric Substation, is a single-family residential property. The request for RS10 is residential, single-family, 10,000 square foot lots. Single-family puts it in alignment with what the surrounding properties are. It also allows for appropriate access to the interstate, as Vice Mayor McDonald spoke about, with having traffic patterns going to and from the east side of Williamson County or to and from Davidson County for travel for work. Our staff did recommend approval for this to the Planning Commission based on the knowledge of water and sewer and where that stands, and based on the surrounding properties being single family. This looked to be an opportunity for that would never be developed as a commercial area due to several factors: the TVA lines that go through, the wet weather conveyances that go through, several streams among the area, the stream that particularly cuts the property off from Highway 100 and only allows access primarily from Pinewood Road. And so with all of those kind of pieces together, looking at the holistic view, with this having an appropriate land use of multifamily residential, our staff did not find that that was in the character of the surrounding properties, and that single family would be more in character with the surrounding properties. There is a representative tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Moulton, Could you come forward, please, and state your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening again, Rob Mulchin, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 37129. I'm available for any questions the board may have in regards to this request for the RS10.
I know that we've discussed a lot about this property already. You know, I was one of the ones excited about medical here, but I've talked to 2 different medical groups, and because of Deadfall Branch and how it affects this property, they just were not interested. And with Deadfall Branch and the way the property lays, it would be very hard for us to see any commercial there, just because when you have commercial, you have to have visibility, you have to have signage. If you're hidden, it just doesn't work. So with the sewer, I know that, like, you know, I guess it was said if somebody came in and, you know, wanted to pay for it, we're talking millions of dollars. This isn't something that's cheap. It just fits to be residential with on-site sewer system. You're looking at a big chunk of land that's got to be set aside, and an alternate piece of land that cannot be touched. So it falls in line with what they're asking for, the RS10 zoning, in my opinion.
Mayor? Yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Roberts.
So with this annexation, with the rezoning, have you considered how many units, considering the water issues and the TVA easement, how many units are you thinking about, and what would it look like?
So it's not so much that you're driven by how much you can get on the property as much as there are soils to serve the property on that side. So we've had a soil scientist out on the property. He's walked the entire thing. He did a preliminary mapping. He came back with areas that were most conducive for septic soils for a step system, then went back and did final mapping on that. So we've got roughly about 12 acres of soil set aside out of the 100 acres, or 111 acres. So, you know, you're already almost 10% of the properties be set aside for soils for the step system on that side. So you're taking at least 10% out just for the sewer system on the property on that side. We're also dedicating between 9 to 12 acres for stormwater management on the property, as we've heard a couple of citizens that live near this. Regards to stormwater, we'll be following all the acceptable requirements that the city has, but also what TDEC requires of us on that side too, and be fully engineered through our engineering department on that side. So now you're down to roughly about 90 acres of developable, of gross property to work with on that side. Take out, give or take, I don't know the number of acres in regards to the TVA easement that bypasses this property at an angle. So then you take out Deadfall Branch and the stream buffers that were required to adhere to by the state and TDEC, and then also the slopes that are along that branch on that side takes out another considerable amount of acreage on that side. Bear in mind that the southern end of this, so the long end tip of this is very hilly, very unsteep, very steep, not very conducive for development on that side. So again, that would also be some more acreage taken out of this. So by the time we sit down and look at this from the standpoint of this 10,000 square foot lot basis, we're looking at somewhere between 110 to 130 lots maximum would be able to be supported by the soils and also by the actual property itself. So when you look at it from the standpoint of looking at that from the standpoint of 110 to 130 lots, you're really around still a little bit around 1 unit to the acre, or a little over 1 unit to the acre. So technically you're still at an RS40 zoning. But in order to facilitate making the property feasible, the RS10 is the request in order to get us back to being able to develop to 1 unit to the acre on what's developable on the property on that side. So that's what the request is for.
Thank you for that explanation. I have 2 really quick questions. It's right now, I think, a pasture. It's wide open. Do you anticipate having to cut down many trees, or would this just be using open property?
The front portion of the property is pasture. The back portion is wooded on that side. So the front, that's where we're really looking at trying to work that. Really, the front section's the Deadfall Branch, so that's not going to be happening on that side. So you come in off of that a few hundred, 400 or 500 feet to get back to that pastoral area on that side. So we would be working that portion back towards the middle of the property and that southern portion of the property where we get back to that second branch that kind of comes through the neighbor's property that you talked about, potential flooding concerns that our stormwater management will take care of that water before it gets to that to slow down that rate. And like Mr. McDonald said, we can't impact that neighbor with any more water than happens today on that side based on the requirements. So you're really looking at that middle portion of the property being the portion that would be developed.
And based on our previous conversation, there's considerable work that needs to be done with WADC to get water lines just even run into this property. What would be your timeline to build? What do you think you would actually have?
That's going to take some time. I mean, we've got to, one, ascertain the route from where Dixon County could potentially have right now the water line to touch onto on that side. And then, of course, depending on that length of that run to get that water line there, we'd have to survey that entire corridor and then have to fully design that water line system in accordance with, with our engineers would design it, but it would be in accordance and reviewed by Dixon County Water Authority and also TDEC. So there's definitely some time frames in regards to that water line system, assuming we can get it to work, to actually be to the property on that side. So that's, there is a engineering time frame that's still beyond these meetings here in regards to the annexation and zoning process to, one, get the water line to the property. And then, of course, once we do have that to the property, then there would also be more engineering time to design the actual subdivision, submit it to Ethan and, the staff on that side for their full review from a planning and engineering standpoint. So there is some considerable lead time yet before we ever put a shovel in the ground.
Are you willing to give it like a guess, like a hazard guess, how long that takes?
I mean, honestly, from the standpoint of getting a shovel in the ground, you're probably at least a year and a half or so out.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones?
Sorry, Mayor,
Sorry.
may I? Sorry.
Okay,
I was thinking
I looked
you.
back and forth and
I know,
I
I
didn't
was
see
thinking.
anybody. Were you contemplating?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, Vice Mayor McDonald.
I know we're not at design yet, but I just had a couple questions that maybe you have put some thought into. So as far as ingress, egress of this property, once it's built, what's your best guess at what that'll look like?
Two access points to Pinewood. I mean, because like I said, we're not going to be going to Highway 100. I mean, both roads are TDOT roads, so we'd have to, have those conversations with TDOT. We're already discounting, Highway 100 because of Deadfall Branch and the topography and the terrain that's there. So we'd have two access points on that, what I would call the knife blade edge of the tomahawk that you're seeing on the screen on that side. So there'll be 2 points of ingress, egress to Pinewood. Again, that's a conversation that we would have to have with, one TDOT, but also with staff in regards to what improvements would have to be made to that roadway and also potentially the intersection of Highway 100 based on the amount of, units we're putting in there on that side. So that would be fully vetted via TDOT on that side, and then also in concurrence with staff in regards to that, traffic impact we'd have on the property.
And there would be a traffic impact study completed due to the amount?
Yes, we're definitely well above where the minimum threshold will be, so there'll be a traffic study involved in this.
General question, I guess, I'm not sure. I have a hunch, but I'm not sure. If this was to be, you mentioned all the other uses that the 2040 plan currently calls out for that property. One, heavy industrial is an option, right? So as far as well water impact or surrounding tributaries on how those are going to be influenced by what goes there, I would imagine they'll be in better shape with residential, single-family residential than any sort of industrial to any degree. Yes, I know there's regulations for industrial to follow laws too, but you have a lot harder time finding step system issues into waterways than you would with any sort of industrial over the years. And then traffic flow, as far if it is a shopping center or some sort of retail of a development that size with the property the size that it is, assuming some things, right? There's a lot of hypotheticals going on here, but traffic flow on average would be greater with a retail space, commercial space, than it would be with a residential space, correct?
Mr. Mulchin, you can speak to that as well, but historically, traffic flow in commercial spaces is quite a bit more than residential.
He is correct in that.
So when taking those things in consideration, I hear the concerns, but short of it staying raw land, if something's going to go there, residential is going to be the least impactful from a traffic perspective of what could be there. If it goes heavy industrial, then I think the problems that arise from that potentially are worse than traffic. Traffic would be the least of concerns. Not to mention noise and smells and whatever might else come from an industrial thing. Oftentimes when industrial is put on a property, the residential property next door to it doesn't typically see an increase in land value. And then at the same time, you're bringing utilities into the area, right, that are going to feed into other properties that can pull off of that, you know, we had a strategic planning session with MTAS. We finished it up right before this meeting, and we were talking about our 1 year, 3 year, 5 year vision or goals for the future of the town. And not having, you know, you look at all the goals that we all had and what we see coming to Fairview in the future, and it all costs money at the end of the day. This is an opportunity for us to increase our infrastructure with water that we don't have to pay for. So that's all I have to say.
Mayor, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes. Mr. Molden, you mentioned TDEC a while ago. Are you at the point where you can explain how TDEC will help protect the streams, like Mr. Sullivan's property there? How
Yeah.
they go about the protection of the streams?
Yeah, so in regards to deadfall branch, we won't be, you know, TDEC has a requirement that you do not disturb within 60 feet of the top of the bank. So if you, depending on topographically, this one being steeper, the bank's gonna be a little further out. So we're not gonna really have that room to have that cushion. So that's why, again, commercially and anything else like that in regards to this property being zoned for commercial, industrial, that kind of stuff, you're still gonna have that separation. So that TDEC protects that stream because it's already classified as a stream, so we have to follow those regulations on that side. The draw at the back of the property on that side, we would, you know, we'd have to go through a hydrologic determination, submit that to TDEC. TDEC would then send their guys out on foot on the property to evaluate the report. Then concur with that report, issue a concurrence letter. We would also have to also reach out to the Tennessee Corps of Engineers. They would do the exact same thing TDEC would do, and that would come out on the property itself, evaluate what the report has to say, be in agreement with it or not be in agreement with it. Then they'd tell the hydrologic soil scientist and stuff like that, that you have to modify your report before they would issue their letter of concurrence. And that letter of concurrence is something that we have to submit to staff that shows that TDEC and the Army Corps of Engineers is in agreement that these certain waterways on the property are waterways that need to be protected, and we have to follow those guidelines that TDEC and the Corps sets on that. So those becomes things that we cannot technically impact without there being some kind of a ramification or financial responsibility for us to make those types of crossings or impact those things on that side. And then to follow that up too, from a TDEC standpoint, stormwater management, it will, you know, be through staff on that side. TDEC will also be looking at that as well.
Okay. As far as the TVA power line, can you actually build under them, or you have to stay so many feet away from the power line there?
We can you can put roadways and pavement services and stuff through those, but you cannot build a structure inside that. So that's really totally non-developable land on that side. You can put houses to either side of it, but you can't build a built structure underneath it unless it's a parking lot or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your information.
Ms. Jones?
Do we have a motion?
Are you sure?
Probably did.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Thank you.
Item 11A passes 4-1. We'll take a quick recess for a few minutes. V, what is the initial I and V? Okay, we will reconvene our BOC meeting already in service. No, that's not right. Okay. Oh, me. Late hour. Okay, item 11B, ordinance 2025-21, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the city of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 10.07 acre parcel located south of Old Franklin Road and east of Nottingham Drive, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 046, parcel 054.02, from RS40 Single Family Residential to R20 1 and 2 Family Residential, property owner Willisam Services. Mr. Greer.
This comes to you with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission, positive recommendation from staff. The 2040 Comprehensive Plan has this listed as Legacy Neighborhood Residential Medium. It has appropriate zoning of RS40 and R20, and the appropriate land uses are single-family detached residential. The request is for R20, which is in alignment with the 2040 Comprehensive Plan, which is also in alignment with the adjacent neighborhood on Old Franklin, Castleberry Farms. There's a representative tonight to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Moulton, please approach again. Thank you.
I'd say I'm a broken record, but Rob Moulton, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 37129. I'm here to answer any questions the board may have in regards to this request.
Motion to approve.
That's what I was going to do. I mean, I wasn't going to make the motion. I was going to entertain a motion, so, okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Now, questions from the board?
Mayor, I can start. What is
Vice
the-
Mayor McDonald?
Thank you. What is the, I guess, intent with the R20 zoning on the property?
Single-family detached lots at 20,000 square foot or greater on that side. I mean, you're looking at this piece of property, as we heard earlier from the citizens, this is an odd-shaped piece of property. And doing some preliminary concept work, we're looking at maybe about 8 lots on this, so you're actually less than 1 unit to the acre in regards to the density on this. And that's, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the R20, you would technically say double that, but since you're at an encumbrance of shape and dimension, and there's also the creek at the bottom of this, that would be also probably a stream designation that would have buffers on it from TDEC and so forth on that side, plus also stormwater management that would be for the development before it got to the creek. So we'd make certain we're taking care of our stormwater before it got to the creek and any adjacent property owners on that side. So yeah, you're really trimming it back to about 8 units on the property itself.
You may have answered this question in that answer you just gave, but just to ask you directly, it kind of, I'm sure there's others thinking the same thing. If you got 10 acres, you're doing 7 to 8 lots, why not just keep R40? Is it a road frontage issue? What's the reasoning for wanting to go to R20?
Yeah, you're looking at it from the standpoint of, once anything that's, when you talk about gross density, it never really takes into account stormwater, roadways that you have to have in order to support the houses that you're putting on the property. So that automatically retracts developable acreage on that side. So theoretically, when you look at this property and you look at R40 versus R20, yeah, you're asking for a 50% reduction, but you're still getting the same as what you're zoned for when you bring it in on the annexation side of things.
So with that 7 or 8, I'm not holding you to it, but if that's what you're thinking, I would imagine some of those lots will be much greater than 20,000 square feet.
Yeah, and some of those are a little bit bigger because of the fact that, if we brought a road in down that neck, you have, a single loaded road on one side or the other, you're already losing 50% of what your costs are from the standpoint of the roadway going in, just having lots being built on one side. The shape of that property kind of chiseling away towards the east on that side, those lots will get a little bit deeper as they go back in. So yeah, you're asking for R20, that's your minimum, and that's not saying that every lot's going to be a minimum. There's always a chance that most developments that they're always bigger on that side. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
And we've had this situation before where it was attempted to keep an R40 because that's essentially what it is, but one lot was 10% smaller because of an encumbrance, and then that changes everything. So sometimes when an R20 is asked for, the lots are typically bigger, but it's just to account for anything that might be smaller because of infrastructure.
Correct.
Mayor. It's a dangerous game, me doing math this late at night, and this isn't necessarily for you, Mr. Moulton. It's for the board. We have so far approved 120 dwelling units tonight, if everyone's maximum is the amount. And on the table, including those 120, is 258, and that's just tonight. What did Mr. Greer say earlier? They're in the Planning Commission meeting coming up. How many items are we reviewing? Are they reviewing?
I think that they will have 8, 9, or 10 items on their agenda.
8, 9, or 10 items. So I know it's getting late. I think that we will have another opportunity to discuss this, but I wanted to bring that out into the very clear with everybody that this is why I just keep repeating what I'm saying. I'm not against growth, but again, there are just certain areas and certain things that we're looking at, and I'm sure we'll have a longer conversation about this at the next hearing.
Ms. Jones,
Mayor, if I may, sorry to
did I not get a
prolong
motion?
this. No, I just wanted to note one thing, that this is a first reading. This only takes it to a public hearing and a second and final reading. So for the public who's watching, this is not an official guarantee. It just moves it to a public hearing and a second and final reading.
Thank you. Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Nay.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Nay.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 11B passes 3-2.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Item 11C. Ordinance 2025-22, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of Fairview, Tennessee by rezoning a 7.26 acre parcel located at 1550 Highway 96 North, consisting of Williamson County Tax Map 019, parcel 002.00, from RS40, Single Family Residential, to IG, Industrial General. Property owner, Deborah Hubert. Mr. Greer.
Just a moment. This request comes to you with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. It also has a positive recommendation from staff. The 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates this property as Interchange Business Employment District with appropriate land uses of retail, restaurant, office, light industrial, multifamily, residential, civic, and institutional. The appropriate zonings are commercial center, commercial mixed use, office general, industrial restrictive, and industrial general, which is the request tonight. Staff, again, had a positive recommendation for approval for this as it meets the appropriate zoning and the appropriate land use in the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. For those who are unfamiliar with the location of this, it is on our county's western border, almost. There's a parcel that separates it. It's out. You can see the I-40 interchange with Highway 96. It is almost to County Line Road. There is currently Bell Construction one parcel away to the east, where they have their construction laydown yard and maintenance shop, which is somewhat of an industrial site in itself. And this property falls into alignment with the 2040 comp plan. There is a representative tonight who has waited a long time to get to speak to you all to answer any questions that you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Corey Nelson, 615 Design Group, 1517 Hunt Club Boulevard, Gallatin, Tennessee. I think you guys have waited probably longer for this meeting to end, so I appreciate the comment, but I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. Happy to answer any questions.
Mayor.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you. What's the plan for this?
So my client is looking to do flex space, which is kind of a warehouse option of parceling out those units for wholesale goods, storage for people that own store frontage that would use that as some kind of either office frontage with wholesale goods storage and outside laydown yards and things like that. Just a flex space is very dynamic, so it's kind of hard to go into there. But I understand that at the previous meeting, Vice Mayor brought up the manufacturing activities allowed, that there's no plan for that, for this.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Jones?
Vice Mayor McDonald,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11C passes 5-0. Item 12, roundtable, Mayor and Commissioners. Commissioner Buffalini.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Thank you to Waves and United Communication who came this evening. Excited for October 11th. It's a big day for a lot of people. Storybook Trail. It's also Fun Day. It's also our Mayor's birthday.
60th. Do I
60th
look
birthday.
60, please? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to be at the Storybook Trail.
I was trying to get through this very quickly. Thank you to Katie Sayed for volunteering at our park. Congratulations to Bree Bailey, our newest naturalist, with her certification. Thank you very much. You are awesome and a great addition to our parks. Don't forget, Jacket Patch has their pumpkin patch up at Apex Bank, so go on by and say hi and visit them. Tomorrow we have homecoming parade, 12:30. There's a Powder Puff game, and then a game versus Harpeth with our football, and then that's all I got. I'm done. I try getting through as quick as possible.
Commissioner Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor, Board, and everybody who is listening here. I'll also make it brief. I'm a Tennessee Achieves mentor. If you've heard of that, then you know that this is a great way to help graduating students prepare for the workforce or for their transition to college. And if you're interested in helping with this statewide program, but I always get assigned to students at Fairview High School, you can ask me, and you can also look up information at tnachieves.org/mentors. It's a great way to give back to the community. And they are currently looking for more mentors. They need them desperately, and the deadline to sign up for that is November 14th. I'm so excited that we closed on the Hickman County property for the police training facility. This is most certainly a good step in the right direction to completing this project, getting our police the resources they need, and also looking at preserving that out parcel for more park-like use. And finally, I really love how much people are coming to speak up. I encourage everyone to come and speak at the meetings or email, call, text, but continue to let yourself be heard and to say what you think. Maybe not when it's only an adjacent property to you, but anytime you feel like something that could be happening could be affecting Fairview and it matters to you. Everybody's voice is important. So please continue to come and speak with us. I'm very encouraged by everything that that we've heard tonight and that we continue to hear. So thanks for that. And go Jackets. Looking forward to winning homecoming tomorrow night.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. Thanks to all the city employees for all you do. And just a shout out to Bree and Keith for put the rendering of our sign for the Bowie Nature Park sign. I really appreciate it. Be glad they were here and we have them in the ground. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Vice Mayor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Beat the same drum. Bree, great job. I think that's awesome that you went and did that. Also, the only other comment I have is just the parks in general. I guess if you were around back in the COVID era and the year following, and I know we've said this before, but it's just very encouraging now that we're getting reports from the park that not only are the classes are back, but they're full and they're hitting record numbers. I just think that's fantastic from where we were a short time ago to where we are now. It just shows the initiative that park staff is putting into getting the parks back up and running. It's just very encouraging, and I applaud them for it. Yeah, come out tomorrow if the weather's good, which I think it's, I don't know, I actually have no idea if it's supposed to be nice or not. If it's not, bring an umbrella. It'll still be fun. But if it is supposed to be nice, you should come out. It should be a great time. Yeah, that is all.
Well, go Jackets. I'm looking forward to homecoming. We made, I think, national news, sports or whatever, when our guy was tackled by somebody on the sidelines, which I've been shooting football for, pictures, for 25, 30 years. I've never seen anything like that. And for us to make like ESPN and everybody else, Little Fairview, that was pretty wild. So hopefully this game this week is, a little less exciting than that, but a win all the same. So I ditto everything everybody said. Excited about the training facility for the police officers. I know that Chief Humphreys couldn't contain himself the other day when, he found out that finally it was, the documents were going to be signed and money exchanged so that we can move forward with this project. I'm just excited because we're running out of options, so our police officers need this training. Thank you, Bree, Keith, Zena, your whole group. It's not just during COVID. I've been around a long time, and there was other times when we had to beg people just to sign up. And just to see the numbers you have, it just is a testament to how good of a job y'all are doing and how the outreach that you're accomplishing. So great job. And, Patty, all of y'all, Tom and Richard and Rachel, Patrick and everybody. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. I've been around for a while, and I think I'm just tired or something. Patrick. Yeah, well, I was kind of going around the room. But the thing about it is, I had to have my kids at the airport this morning at 5 a.m. or something like that. So I'm tired. Anyway, I know we all are, but anyway, I'm just being silly. So let's just please pick up trash and don't throw out. Let's keep Fairview beautiful. And is there anything I'm missing that we need to talk about that's going on? What? Yeah, I think we've already mentioned homecoming parade at 12:30. No, I think we're good. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.